How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses with your favorite show hosts, are still.
Venurian.
And Volacel, and a very happy Easter to everybody who's celebrating right now who has managed to roll over to Resurrection Sunday.
Yes, because time zones are a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, so are still waiting.
Yeah, I still
Yes.
got hour and 15 minutes before midnight.
No chocolate for you, at least for not yet.
Yeah, I kind of sort of a little bit gorged myself on chocolate this morning because it was among the things that I gave up for Lent. So I hadn't had any kind of any kind of chocolate things for the last, month and a half.
Nice.
But yeah.
I haven't touched chocolate yet, sitting there and taunting me.
We're here to bring the latest news and games commentary for the week, although I was going through the news and there is basically nothing.
There's
Not
a
even
few
trivial
little
stuff.
things. Yeah,
I didn't really feel like there was anything worth talking about, that's for sure.
it's hard to find anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're starting to get into the pre-announcement season doldrums already. By the way.
Yeah, all of the financial years for most companies will have rolled over by now. Although there are a few that have a tax year in July or June. I'm not quite sure exactly how that works.
Depends on where they are in the world, yeah.
But generally speaking, people should be ready to make their run on their next quarter soon. Therefore, they're going to be focused on marketing timing at the moment. So most of the things that I've seen announced have been things like Star Wars Outlaws DLC.
Oh,
which I'm sure has a huge market.
Yes, that one person who's still playing it will be very happy.
But if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw. You can join us in our Discord server by clicking the link in the show description, which is the best way to communicate with the show hosts and other listeners to the show and see the shitposting channels, etc.
Yes, the core of the Discord.
Yeah.
Realistically, that's what Discord's for. But who knows if Discord's even going to exist shortly, since I think they're being sued presently.
Oh, again?
Yeah, for apparently not protecting children from pornography or something, because apparently it's not the parents' job to do that.
Yeah. Discord does have a few safety measures along that line, but at the end of the day, it's really on the parents.
Yeah, well, I think it seems to be a trend among like millennial parents to let an iPad or whatever do the parenting.
Okay, melons. Ugh. All right, bring it down. Oops, or not. It's going to come down on its own.
Yeah, that's why we always drop it early. And never go for the full drop.
I got all 3 wounds on it, so buzzsaw.
Except I'm not playing the buzzsaw weapon.
Oh, I am disappointed. So, yeah, all right. Well, we'll see what happens on that front, but Discord's been in trouble a few times over the years, as every such platform is. I just perfect countered a flash. How does that even work?
Yeah, I did.
I just decided to take it straight to the eyeballs because I was in the middle of True Charge Slash, and I'm like, no, it's worth it.
No,
just the way every great sworder would.
Yes. Zitsuyaku would be proud.
Oh, he caught me midair with that tail.
So yeah, we'll jump into weeks then, and my week has been kind of a mess. It's yeah, nothing game-wise. It's been pretty tame on that front. I wish I actually had some more time to do Monster Hunter stuff, but I just haven't.
Oh, I knocked him back. Whoops.
It has a wound on its cloaca. You yes. Monster.
It does have a wound zone on its cloaca.
I think it just had a failed flash there.
Yeah, its flash is broken.
Yeah, let's stop that flash right there.
Yeah. So I don't really have anything new on the game front. I'm still chipping away in Skyrim now that I'm kind of getting into the rhythm of playing as a caster. And unlike the boomerang build I was using before, I don't feel ridiculously overpowered and broken. But you know how it is. It's still Skyrim, and there's even chance that whenever you're doing a quest, it's just going to break for absolutely no reason. So it's a bit of time to sit down and study console commands. Thing is, those are on vanilla quests, not mod quests. So you can kind of possibly blame mods for it, but you just as easily blame Bethesda.
Poor Chimkin.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had a bad time, I have to say.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer rubber chicken.
Accidentally
Nobody
mined
likes
the...
you, Gypsy. Why are you even here?
Of all the monsters they could have picked, why him?
Why Gypsy?
Why does dash
because
extracts
they-
have to come from him?
Probably because they put Nasilla in the game, and Nasilla tends to eat and wear the skin of Gypsy. So there you go, bit of Monster Hunter lore for you.
Do they always appear together in Monster Hunter games?
Well, they've only been 2 games that they've both been in, which is 4 and and Generations, but everything was in Generations.
Don't forget to grab a cold bug on your way down to...
Yeah. Doopy-doo. So yeah, the big thing I did this week is I decided to sit down and actually watch ReZero, the first season.
You got through all the way?
Almost all the way. I've got maybe 2 episodes left to go on it.
How about that quality improvement after episode 18?
It steps up
A lot.
a lot. Like suddenly we have budget.
Well, it's not so much the budget, just the storytelling gets way better.
Yeah, the thing is everything up until that big turning point is basically Subaru is suffering. And yeah, he's suffering and there's horrible things happening, but at the same time, you can't feel sorry for him at all. Because yeah, there's stuff happening, but his tend to go-to responses tend to either be something based in like selfishness, arrogance, or hubris. He doesn't really take the time to actually stop and think things through at any point. And so, yeah, he dies and he goes back around a couple of times. But when things work out, they never really work out because he stops to actually think about things. They work out because he got lucky.
Yeah, it also didn't have a focus or a way to really make him incentivized to act like a better
Anything other
person.
than a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've seen the entire white whale fight then?
Yeah. I think I've still got just the conclusion has shown there's more than one white whale.
Okay, so you're not at the end of the white whale fight.
No, because presumably Wilhelm's not done yet because
well, you still remember who
he's
he
an
is.
awesome butler.
The quirk of the white whale is anybody it eats gets erased from the memories of everybody.
Yeah. Everyone except Subaru, apparently.
Yeah, because of his time travel shenanigans, let him get around those kind of effects.
Yeah. But watching him kind of in the lead up to the white whale fight and everything leading up to that last bit of it is him finally actually starting to learn and to act like an adult.
Yeah, act like a normal person. Well, not a normal person, but somebody that's got a random gravio swing.
Okay.
How did he break his wing over there?
I'm not going to question it.
I've just been like losing constant health because I've been fighting in the lava trying to get this tail.
Oh, that's why my health is going down.
Yeah, lava hot.
I mean, I don't think Art landed a solid hit on me yet. But I've just been...
Yeah, he hasn't landed a hit on me either, but I've taken a lot of damage nevertheless. Actually, I did get hit once. So I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. So
I play White Bowgun and I'm not good at it.
Yeah. So now that the story is actually starting to, properly begin, I can see where people are coming from now, because the story starts to get really good once Subaru gets his head out of his ass.
Yeah. I love the little dig at Subaru. It's supposed to be narratively a moment where Cruchet is like, look, if even the weakest of us can run into battle, what are you losers doing? It's just the most backhanded compliment imaginable. I think that. Oh, no, tail's not off yet.
No, not yet. Got a wound on it, though.
I did. I thought popping it would get it off. But that thing is stuck
Nope.
on there.
I should get the great sword out then, I guess.
It should be almost off at this point, so you should be good.
It should be pretty close, yeah.
I've been going to town on that tail.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm wondering to see how he's going to unscrew things up with Amelia and all of that, because the bit where he goes absolutely ballistic on Amelia is not in his current time loop. He actually did that, and that stuck. And that rant that he makes right there is the reason why I think everyone really hates Subaru at the start. Because that whole rant really just sums up exactly who he is at that point.
Yeah, and he'll get continuously better as it goes on and into season 2.
Yeah,
and he maintains that level of improvement throughout all of season 2.
That's good. Yeah, they've even just the couple of episodes later, they've shown a little bit of the his
There it
old
goes.
temperament peeking through, but it's more popped up as a gag more than anything else at that point. So he's still a doofus. One thing I wasn't prepared for is actually Betelgeuse.
Oh,
He did not show up with air raid sirens. No, stop it. After watching Isekai Quartet, I was expecting Betelgeuse to be crazy.
no, you don't even know the half of how insane that boy
No.
is.
He was toned down for Isekai Quartet.
Yeah, that boy is. You literally find out that how badly it was the witch factor that screwed him up.
Just to find out exactly how he became that messed up.
Yeah, you'll get to see him as a normal person in a flashback in season 2, and it's crazy.
Whoops.
Oh. Food skill insurance meal has activated.
Huzzah!
For me, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts for you guys.
I think it's just
only once per quest.
Yeah.
It's once per instance across the quest, I think.
Oh, hey, mining lamp crop. So yeah, Betelgeuse shows up, and oh boy, there are no words to describe just how off the wall, unhinged that guy is. He's great.
Yeah, he was when they did the ReZero crossover with Princess Connect. They picked Betelgeuse as the boss. Betelgeuse is the boss.
Oh yeah, that would have been
interesting.
interesting.
That was something. Watching the Pinecone characters react to that.
The Pinecone characters aren't exactly the pillars of mental stability themselves. Let's face it.
I wish they had had Kuka interact with him.
I don't think the world would be prepared for that.
But yeah, Betelgeuse is actually a really, really tragic character.
But he makes for a really good villain.
Yeah, he is a ton of fun when he's on. All the Witches cult members are a ton of fun when they're on screen. Their witch factors have twisted them into the craziest people possible.
Yeah, it just completely shreds their minds.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna have a time.
Which does raise
there, I got caught up in that. And where's my health gone?
Yeah, I couldn't block the whole thing, and poor Rathian got caught in it as well.
There are a lot of bodies here.
I just got on my mount and started sharpening. When I saw that mess going on, I'm like, nope, not. We ain't messing with.
Just pieced out.
Right.
Can't blame her.
Right train blade is bust. Stop!
So yeah, I do have a
grabbing the puddle pods.
But you need them. You need them, Aristeel.
Okay.
You need to get them all moist.
Moist.
Okay. Yeah, a couple of theories.
Yeah. Largely based on a little bit that kind of happened during the bad ends where Puck goes off the rails.
Yeah.
But he doesn't go off the rails. His contract concludes, I suppose, is probably the better way to put it.
Yeah, like
That
Puck is actually stupidly powerful, and they cleared this up more in season 2, just how nuts Puck is when he's allowed to cut loose. It's a pretty major
but
plot
you
point.
see him at the end. Yeah, the bits they show of him at the end, towards the end of season 1, is he's given up. He has nothing else now.
Yeah,
he has 0 fucks left to give.
Yeah, you found out
he's the animal companion character, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
cute and silly most of the time, but
he's not restricted to drawing on Amelia for mana. He is not nearly so tiny.
No, or friendly.
I think it's
no longer Paimon.
Yeah,
he is no. Well, he's probably Paimon's voice actor. Actually, no, he's not. That's mean.
He has a boy voice,
but
a very explicitly male voice, in fact.
Yes,
that's not the joke he was making.
That is not the joke I was making, but it's the joke I was making was incredibly mean. So let's leave it behind. Yeah, so he actually calls Subaru the Pride as one of in reference to the cultists.
Oh, so
that's probably going to come back later, no doubt.
Yeah, the other witches cults members think You got it. Oh, both chain blades are broke, now just the head.
Yeah, that was the most slidiest clash ever.
Often is on hills, especially Darkveld. And a focus attack on that head wound, I might be able to get a...
If you can get it.
Might be able to get a, whatchamacallit, of a thing, a concussion knockdown.
Oops.
Oh, I didn't want that wound.
Yeah, I didn't turn fast enough for that one.
How is that not... Let me grab it, dang it! Darkveld.
No, he doesn't wanna.
Oh, I got the concussion. You're dead, but we got it.
Yeah, that combo with Darkveld is nasty if I try and turn with the shield raised.
Oh,
I gotta drop the shield before I can turn fast enough.
Yeah, he's fully broken now.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some theories as to where the story's going to go and as to like what Subaru's original purpose perhaps was, being dragged through the world.
Yeah, they're
wit and useless.
At the moment, yeah.
Well, at the point you're at, he's considerably less useless.
Yeah, he is completely useless when he first gets there.
I like how they do everything with Subaru and make him much more effective without having to give him superpowers.
Yeah. Granted, they actually have to shred him completely down to 0 first, which is where the title came from because, title drop happened. But yeah, it was very well done ultimately.
Yeah, and he will not get any major power-ups or anything as the
Oh, hello. Hello.
He's fully broke, so we just gotta focus on killing him.
Just bring him down.
Take that free counter, thank you very much.
Bonk. Oop, nice. Yeah.
He's not having a good day.
He is not.
There was a nitro toad underneath him.
I forgot to get the cooling thing. That's why it's taking so much time. It's like, why am I dying all the time? What is this? Man.
You can perfect guard that. It's about the only thing that I've found that does appreciable chip damage.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to keep going on ReZero now. Now that it's actually really starting to get good.
You're invested.
I'm invested.
Okay.
But yeah, the first half of season 1 is a slog. And then Subaru really kind of starts to come apart at the seams, and it's hard to look away at that point.
Yeah, when the deaths stop just becoming shock value and have narrative impact, they're still ridiculous. That was a very big piercing pod damage. I think I saw a 300 in there. I must have tapped a wound.
Yeah, like the first loop could have basically been ended by Subaru just walking away, honestly, but he refuses to.
Yeah, and
he's got a hero complex.
It will become more and more uncanny, his attraction to Amelia, and this is 100% intentional.
Yeah,
like
even at this point, it's like if Amelia's being nice to him, kind of out of obligation at this point.
Yeah, we don't know why he was immediately infatuated with her, but the series is drawing so well, yeah, that. But the series is drawing so much attention to the immediate attraction later that something's clearly up with that, especially because a certain
she is the sort of she is at least superficially sort of like the white-haired pretty nice girl, but she's also completely vapid.
Yeah,
she's not going to do anything until season 3.
And that's the thing. She really hasn't done anything up until this point.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting a while.
Definitely nothing that warrants that level of infatuation.
Holy crap, you weren't kidding. There's a lot of Ardian parts in this thing.
I told you, I saved my best ones for when Fern was with us.
Got some pretty good jewels out of that too, actually.
That was a silver crown Gypseros. That's a silver crown one, huh?
That poor Gypseros just got bullied and he's got a silver crown. Oh dear. That was a silver small crown. Okay, that explains a few things.
Oh, was it a tiny crown?
Yeah, it was a tiny crown.
Okay.
That makes a bit more sense. But yeah, there's definitely something going on, and honestly, I hadn't really thought about it too much. I thought it was just Subaru being a hero and being a simp, and at that point, he's kind of invested. But yeah, no, right from the get-go, he's basically head over heels for her.
Yeah, they have not. I doubt they will explain that until the very end. That they drop significant hints to it in season 2. That ain't natural.
There's something going on there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'll be interested when you finally get through season 2 because I love season 2 to death, especially the second half.
Yep.
And if you made it to the White Whale, it's all uphill from there. The White Whale is really the break point there, where everything is gravy. It starts to get better.
It gets harder at that point,
or all downhill from there.
That means it gets worse from that point.
Well, it gets worse for Subaru, probably.
Well, yeah, I won't spoil what happens. But the answer is both yes and no.
Yeah, because he's actually using his brain mush.
Yeah. So they but yeah, that's the White Whale fight signifies you're golden from that point on.
Yeah, the White Whale fight is spectacle all the way through too.
Yeah. It also marks the first of many long heroic speeches.
Yeah.
Somebody likes to chew the scenery.
Oh yeah.
All the
time. In fact, when chewing the scenery becomes a plot point that is necessary in season 3, Subaru gets elected to do it unanimously by every heavy hitter present.
So what type of speech are we talking about? Is it like the reason you suck speech or power of friendship speech, or is he just a good speech maker generally?
Like that, I need to inspire the entire town that's currently
Ah,
being invaded by the bad guys because they're losing hope. Okay, we'll put you on the fantasy radio and have you do your big speech to everybody.
just do that thing that we can't stop you from doing anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. That mission invite, friend.
I did not, actually. Hang on. Is it in my invite list? Yep, there it is.
This one's not quite as rewarding, but I don't want to just do the same fight over and over again.
Yeah, fair call.
Yeah. I'm glad somebody else is finally checking out ReZero. Now I can talk to somebody about
Yeah,
it.
it's just getting through the first 2 loops.
You got to admit that it doesn't sell itself very well when you're like, because when I watched it, I was watching every season, every anime every season, and for at least 3 episodes to determine which ones are good or not. And it based on 3 episodes, that is not a show that makes the freaking cut. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't start to correct itself until around episode 12, and you don't really get fully corrected until the White Whale starts around episode 17.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I'd go a little bit further with that, where Rem actually starts slapping some sense into him.
Oh, that's around episode 18.
Yeah.
So, but
Episode 7. Oh, the episode before that is rock bottom.
As somebody who only knows the unpleasant version of Subaru, I prefer the pink-haired one.
Rom.
Because she bullies him.
She does.
the White Whale fight sells Rim really hard.
Yeah.
And
also, Rem falls for Subaru, and
yeah, but
there's actually reason for that.
Yeah, there's actually events, and they don't start off infatuated with each other. Things happen that draw them
really
together.
Doesn't like him at all at the start.
Oh.
Because, even though he was a selfish, whiny man-child at the start, he still did have a genuine heroic streak through him. It was just buried under, Subaru.
Yeah, there's
all of that. All of that.
All of that.
Going to Arkfeld first. Is he in the fun spot? He looks like he might be in the fun spot.
Hooray! We can just drop stuff on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nope, he moved.
No, he's still up there.
My chicken dog just reversed course.
Oh, your chicken dog is going to get lost.
It is do that. Yeah, okay, there it goes. Now it's getting lost. Bad chicken dog.
Yep, no. Okay, I figured stuff out. I'll wait for y'all.
No, I assumed manual control.
Oh, assuming direct control. Please don't be in line of sight. Arkfeld, you're not yet. Okay, whoa. I found a wall you can run up. Right, sweetie. Oh, I think he...
Swiggity.
Yep, I got my swiggity.
Do we just double swiggity him?
Yeah, you can. Everybody can swiggity him.
Yeah,
nice.
It's just kind of hard to get heaps of people to land at the exact same time because there's no in-game way to time it.
Dropping rocks on his head.
What?
We're bad at this game.
How did that miss?
I want to know how that missed. He was right underneath it. All right, I'm going to go to the other rocks. I'm going to hang out over here.
All right, that's honestly about it for my week. There really hasn't been a whole lot else.
Come on, Arkfeld. Stop playing with Fern. Fern.
Meow.
Pull this way so that he comes play with rocks.
Oh, he was over there. Okay. No, he's going after Vol for a bit.
Hang out here and wait for him to get to the rocks.
Hang on, I'll come over here too. Except he's going after the one we don't want him to go after.
I'm sorry, he just likes me.
Apparently. Ow! Okay, there he is.
Needs to be closer. Probably good. Arkfeld. Buddy, stop. There's the rocks.
There you go.
Another pair of rocks over the other side we can go get. As much damage to the tail as we can. Well, what are you even attacking over there? Probably close.
Yeah, you should be good there. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's all I got really for this week. It's just been a pretty blur week, but I found a good anime at least, and
Yep.
a good anime that does not present itself immediately well.
Yeah, they're. I don't begrudge people for not wanting to chew through the quite long intro before it starts to figure itself out. But once you do, I think it's worth it.
How did I not get hit by that?
Oh, he just. That was awkward. So, that all the video gaming you've been doing too? Just Skyrim?
Yeah, Skyrim, really, yeah. Like, there is stuff I do want to sink time into. It's just I don't really have the time to get super invested in anything else at the moment. Like, I do want to sit down and do Lines of P. I was tempted to pick up Lords of the Fallen after their massive overhaul batch or patches.
Oh, the remake, I hope. Not the.
The remake.
Well, there's only been.
Well, they put out version 2.0 this week,
Oh, is that why I'm
which
seeing Lords?
overhauls basically everything. Yeah.
Is that why I'm seeing Lords of the Fallen stuff everywhere?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why.
Liza P is still probably a better option, and there's another one I'll talk about later if so inclined. Um,
Yep.
even if they dressed it up, it had a lot of shoes. Even the remake did.
Yeah. So apparently they basically went through the list of complaints that people had and whacked them on the head one by one.
Why me?
Got him.
Wound on the
Oh
tail.
crap! How do I? I need to sheath my weapon.
Now, let me get this wound on his tail.
Need
That's
to load my sticky shot. How do I do that again?
yeah, if your stamina gets low or his mount meter turns red, just drop the wound you make on the tail.
Yep. Dropping him.
The one on the tail.
No, the one on the tail's still there. There we go. Ah. Why you don't hate me charging, Arkveld?
That and drop him.
Nice. Okay, break his chain blade.
Chain blades are what you'll need the most of if you're making the gear set.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you can only get them from breaks.
No, 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 no. Okay, I'm good.
Take the free counter. I wonder if Raid Owl will be as exploitable with his counters as he normally is when you fight him, because his counter, if you're close range and you perfect dodge or perfect block the laser beam, uh, he just leaves his face wide open for like the easiest counter attack in the world.
Maybe it will still be so, but in exchange, he probably just insta kills you if you get hit by that bolt.
It's potentially, yeah, he'll probably just crack out another laser beam immediately.
Remember, Mizutsune freaking instant killed the both of us today, and we don't know how.
Yeah, we were on a slope, and Mizu decided to do a dive bomb on the slope, and we weren't alive after that, and we're not entirely sure what happened. And I perfect blocked it, so whatever it was an unblockable one. Fail somewhere around here.
Right over there. Bubble Snake just had to get one over on you.
Yeah. So there is an unblockable dive it has that just will mow you over if it hits you. Which chain blade did we break?
The
Left one.
Left one looks broken.
Yeah.
We're fighting on a dune again, the worst place. And I got hit by something I couldn't see being wound up because it was happening behind the dune.
There you go.
Now just his head. Oh, damage. Oh, it's broken. Get the concuss. Yep.
Yep. Now we just bully him. Or, yeah. Don't.
Oh, no, he pieced out. Screw you guys. I'm going
He
home.
didn't want to be there no more. He was not having a fun time.
Nah. Where you going, Arkveld?
Away.
Very
Anywhere
away.
but here.
Oh, I think I forgot to restock bombs.
Doesn't matter.
I don't think it'll really matter, no.
No, I want to pick up the wiggly lychee, you stupid dinosaur chicken. Oh, this is the one with the bonus quackatrice in it.
Is that who? Oh, right. That's who we're going to bully as the dessert. Let's face away. I'm probably still too close. Okay, so that's unlockable. Great. That one's not.
Close enough, probably not.
Hate that move.
Move.
The clothesline.
Where is the clothesline? Yeah, because it looks like it's just moving. It's just walking.
I found that move on New Udra actually does the most damage out of any of his abilities except for his ultimate.
Ugh.
Right. I'm afraid poor Chicken is probably in for a bad time.
I think he might be. Let's go, bully a bird.
Birdosaur.
Birdosaurus
Rooster.
thing. Chicken.
Chimkin.
Everything is a chimkin. Anyway, Vol, what do?
Not very much. During the body of the week, it was audit week. Audit is over. Thank goodness. I can sort of at least relax a little bit for a little while. It was rather uneventful, which is what you're hoping for.
That's what you want,
from an audit.
yes.
For them to be, bored and disinterested for the most part, because then they won't try very hard. But yeah, so that was relatively quiet. I had time to sit down and finish the story for the latest chapter of Star Rail, which I enjoyed. It went more or lessly the way I expected it to, and most of the reveals were stuff that I had more or less intuited. Especially considering they were pretty like they've made it sort of semi-clear that the theme for Amphorius is Plato's allegory of the cave. So that comes with certain, sort of obligatory assumptions, as it were.
Yeah. Have them out. Operates.
I thought you'd already mounted him.
No, I just sweet.
But yeah, so I liked it, although to be totally honest, my favorite part was probably Herta at the end. Though that's, partly me just being a Herta simp, and
He's coming
partly
down.
because I thought it was genuinely very entertaining. So let's just get rid of this chimkin first, because he's distracting me with his chimkin ways. Man, you people who play weapons that allow you to dodge have it easy. Like, you can just move out of the way of everything the monster does. You don't have to make special plans in order to deal with the circumstance where they decide that they're going to kill you.
Poke.
But yeah, so I love the sort of like the casual narcissism that colors everything that Herta does. I think it's just hilarious. Like, the only thing that is important is what Herta thinks and what Herta's opinion of things are. Like, probably my favorite line in the patch was just like Herta spoilers arrives at the entrance to Amphorius, and she sees some of the sort of familiar Titankin statues that you've been seeing the entire time you've been on Amphorius, and she just takes one look at it and says, "What's the statue? It's ugly. I hate it," and then moves on to something else.
That is absolutely zero cares.
She behaves this way throughout the entire thing. But yeah, there's I think that there's that last scene is incredibly sort of pregnant with sort of fuel for theorizing, because there's so much stuff is just sort of suddenly revealed in a big, not really a lore dump, but a couple of very sort of key statements just in the last minute. Like,
Oh, by the way,
it sort of becomes obvious that, like, for instance, everybody just believes everything that Lygus says. Always. And takes his word as gospel no matter what it is. And nobody comments on this at any point. But then you realize at the end when he reveals that, oh, he's got this entire other sort of sphere of influence that he's been operating in, and he is fully cognizant of everything that's going on and the things that nobody else on Amphorius knows. He's just like, it's just casual knowledge to him. Like, high chance to be involved with whoever ultimately is the villain there. But yeah, lots of little reveals at the end there. But overall, I felt like the entire thing, it fit together quite nicely. It was a very sort of coherent, self-contained arc. I'm still kind of hoping that they aren't going to sort of just systematically abolish the influence of characters arc over arc over arc, and that this is just going to be sort of like a temporary hiatus for them in one way or another, because otherwise it just seems a little bit wasteful, and it seems like it would also impede storytelling to a certain extent after the fact. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. There's an awful lot of text, and this is going to be the way that the story leans. I think that it had the same writer as the intermission chapters of Honkai Impact 3rd, and it kind of shows because it's got the same very sort of excessively detailed verbose style, but I'm perfectly all right with that because, you know, all of the Type Moon stuff is written that way.
Yes.
But yeah, it's I liked the chapter generally, and it was kind of heavy, and it does rely on you to care about the characters and have a certain amount of fondness for them. The approach of directly embedding animated sequence into the story, I think, was used very effectively. I'd seen it before, but out in the outside of Star Rail context, where they used to put those particular sequences about character backstory, but having them just sort of inserted now, it makes a little bit more sense, and there's going to be less people that miss out on that important information. Like a lot of the contextualization for Firefly's story, who Firefly is, why she is the way she is, like all of that stuff was included in an animated sequence that is not embedded in the game the way Castoras's has been. So you get a lot more in-game insight into Castoras's character just by playing through the story than you do for Firefly, even though they're structured in similar ways. They have definitely dialed back on the old black screen with white text, although the joke was with that this time they had white screen with black text, which they did a couple of times, but for not for bad reasons, just for like sort of like narrative commentary. But embedding the sort of the live 2D stuff in place of black screens was definitely what I expected them to do, because it's what they have done in the past for both Genshin and Honkai Impact 3rd, and I always thought it was kind of strange that Star Rail kind of missed the boat on it. But yeah, so that resolves a lot of the staring at a black screen type stuff. Hopefully they keep moving in that direction. It's not a destination, I don't think. It's a step on the path. They need to come up with more camera angles than wide shot, mid shot, over the shoulder shot, close up shot. There needs to be more of them than that. But yeah, overall, I liked it very much. It was a very solid chapter. I don't think that it's going to be remembered much as anything other than the Castoris chapter, because it basically tells her whole story bracketed into that one chapter. But it is quite a lengthy one, and it does contain going on in the background of Castoris's story, which is the clear sort of focus. Going on in the background that you see in all of the cutaways is all critical world building information for Amphorius, what it is, why it is. Lots of questions remain unanswered. Lots of people have disappeared from stage, but where it will all end up is very unclear at this stage. It's like and this is something I feel was under addressed by the plot. Is that Anaxagoras is way too concerned with the what and very unconcerned with the why for most of the story, which it probably in the original language is a little bit less conspicuous, but in English it's certainly extremely conspicuous that he's so overtly focused on the facts of the situation and not on the motivations, because I think the motivations are from the allegory of the cave perspective just as important, because in the allegory of the cave is set up as a thought experiment for basically living in a bubble to a certain extent and your inability to see outside it. But it exists. The Plato's cave exists as an allegory in order to explain a thing. But in the real world, that wouldn't make any sense because nobody creates allegories in the real world. That's why allegories are allegories. So Amphorius, if Amphorius is a Plato's cave, then it has to exist for a reason. Somebody is orchestrating this, and that has yet to be explored. But I mean, they're planning to run a 12-month long campaign, as it were, for this story, and it's only April, so I'm not really surprised that it hasn't been explained yet. There's a lot still to come. Most people are expecting that 3.4 or 3.5 is going to be the Fate collab, and the leakers are saying that the two collab characters are going to be Artoria and Emir, which is the most predictable pair. If I had to pick out of everybody, then those are the two I would pick. I might have been tempted to pick Gilgamesh earlier, but after they released Maidi, then Gilgamesh is basically ruled out because he's clearly a design inspiration. Yeah, I'm expecting, for reasons I've explained before, that Emir is going to be the free 5-star, because they guaranteed that they were going to give everybody a new, as yet unseen 5-star this year, and I'm expecting Emir to be that, which means that Emir is going to be the new Dr. Ratio who everybody has, but nobody has any Eidolons for because they were rolling on the other banner at the time. I'm expecting that they won't make the millionth imaginary character. So next on the list, I would say that Artoria is probably going to be Wind, since that's her other element in Type Moon. As for Emir is sort of a bit of a wild card, so I have no idea what he's going to do.
Emir can basically fit anything, really.
Yeah, he can more or less do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I think that the easiest way to go for him would be physical, because there aren't that many physical characters in the game, and they haven't released one for a while, I don't think. Have they released one since Boot Hill?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's been a while. So
He's
I
an
think
archer who
physical is
throws
probably...
swords, it'll fit.
Although I think Cypher is also going to be physical. And Cypher's definitely going to be a 3.4 character based on the fact that her kit already exists in closed beta, along with Hyacinth. So probably 3.5, I would say. But apparently they're going... when 3.4 launches, the plan is to roll out Finon, Artoria, Emir, Kafka, Silverwolf, Blade, and Jingyu all into closed beta testing at once. Which makes me wonder how they're going to do the traditional end-game mode shilling, where there are so many characters floating around that they're going to want to incentivize people towards.
Yeah, Star Rail seems to take a while to cycle their in-game modes compared to like ZZZ, where every week you got one of the two cycling. It takes like every other week for one of the three to cycle Star Rail.
Yeah, I think that actually if they did cycle it every week, there would be a certain amount of people who would be exhausted by that. But in exchange, I think that people would complain less because increasing the amount of Jade available by just that much would be probably enough to mollify most people.
It would also
because if you got Jade at the rate that you get Polychrome, I think people would whinge about power creep a considerable amount less because they wouldn't feel like it was impossible to keep up.
It would also be easier for
strategic decisions.
It would be easier for you to throw in gimmies in the end game, ones that are just able to be done by most people for the like once every 3 or 4 cycles. So in a freebie one to let people get not feel like their account's falling behind.
Yeah, and I think that with MOC at least, I think that the way forward is to do the deadly assault thing and have the final floor be the prestige one and not the rewards one, or even add 3 more floors, add like 13, 14, 15, which are just like egregiously difficult whales only, but just reward like credits and relic bits or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I really think that that's the way to go, because that way the people who are upset at Memory of Chaos because there are polychromes locked behind it don't have a reason to complain anymore. The people who are constantly whinging that the game isn't hard enough because, you know, they've been wailing hard will have something to kick them in the nuts. And, you know, the people who only care about the story won't be affected one way or the other. So, yeah, it's I think that is the way to go. That's the model to follow. A little bit harder for Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow since they don't have multiple stages at the final sort of tier of difficulty. They've just got the four escalating difficulties. I'm sure you could do something. You could just add a 5th one if you really wanted to, which is just like really obnoxious in one way or another. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I don't think it's necessary to hedge people out. Like, I think that Deadly Assault is plenty challenging for a normal player like me to get 6 stars. I can manage it most cycles. I can manage it most cycles. Not every cycle. Sometimes I'm a little bit behind, or I just don't have the right characters. At Rankle, I don't mind when I fail it because I'm bad. It's like, oh well, if I had the time to get better at this game, then I'd be able to do it. But when I fail it because it's like, well, I haven't sunk in the ridiculous amount of hours required to build up some 4-star to the level where it can feasibly do this, because there's no way I'm going to have enough characters. Like, that's probably where I'm going to be stuck with this current cycle, because it requires 2 ice teams functionally. 2 ice teams are an ice team and an ether team, and I don't have any ether attackers or anomaly, and I only have 1 ice anomaly and no ice attackers. So, sort of buggered. I don't have the sort of the advanced skills required to just brute force it with off element. So I'm probably going to be scratching for that 1 star. But even though that's frustrating fundamentally, probably with this layout I'll still be able to nail 6 stars. It might take me a few tries, but I'll be able to do it. So I'm not going to fall behind in polychrome, and I won't feel like crap next time a banner comes up. I'll be like, oh well, I had a fair chance to roll on this, didn't I? Because I was able to access the polychrome. I occasionally miss one in sheer defense if I'm not quite fast enough, but, you know, sometimes that's just a matter of me having an hour to sit down and redo it until I work out where I'm dropping my time, which has happened to me before. Like, I was just one time I was failing sheer defense one of the rounds, I think the second to last one, over and over again, and I just sat down and focused on what I was doing and realized that I was just making a mistake in the trash part of it, and I shaved like 30 seconds off when I dealt with the trash more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so generally speaking, ZZZ's endgame feels less unfair. It feels like they're not going to keep you down if you aren't doing well. They're not going to just hook you up to the rich get richer, which tends to be what happens in Star Rail, because you need to already be doing well in order to get enough jade to keep expanding your account. And if you're not doing well, you're going to have a rough time.
I think
especially if you took a break at some point.
I think a not insignificant part of the reason Star Rail feels frustrating when you can't clear the in-game content is because once you're caught up on the story, there is, in fact, even if you're not caught up on the story, because there ain't that much combat in it, you're kind of stuck in a weird, I have this account with characters in it that I've rolled for, whether I'm up to snuff for the in-game modes or not, they're the only thing I've got to use these characters that I've gone out of my way to get on, that I can actually play the game with. Even their events are rarely combat events. They're usually some kind of novel toy, like Seal Slammers, or some kind of Facebook game like the Chimera one beforehand. Which, while fine and dandy and neato, don't use anything that you've rolled for.
Yeah, I think that the problem The problem with contrast to ZZZ is that ZZZ has those as well, but because the body of the game is more replayable, it's not a problem.
Yeah, they have an in-game mode that will take most people that are not turbo whaling forever to clear all the way if you just want to play the video game. Like Battle Tower is gonna keep you occupied for a while.
Yeah, so the problem is that Star Rail is a JRPG type game, and the way that is traditionally executed in JRPGs is to allow you to continually escalate your character building, and you can't do that while maintaining balance. So, in a sense, this is a rod they've made for their own back, and they need to find a way out of it. Honestly, I think that ZZ is probably going to be the one to lead the way, even in this respect. Even though the genres are relatively different, I think that what needs to be done at this point is lay down the precedent for radical developer behavior, because the ZZZ team is definitely far more radical and far more risk-taking than the Star Rail ones. Like, the Star Rail ones are following a very traditional pattern, like the FGO pattern or whatever, and just playing it safe, doing the normal gacha thing in a normal gacha context, whereas ZZZ is constantly overhauling their approach from ground zero every time they get a certain threshold of complaints about something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was impressive to a lot of people that they did their dev talk in English. The English was not great, but they put the effort in, you know. And in the content of that dev talk was, it basically expressed a very fundamental willingness to upend the apple cart if people didn't like it, because they were more interested in legacy than they were interested in the reputation of their work as it currently exists. They're looking to see how will people remember this project at the end, rather than how do people feel about it now. And of course, the latter is going to drive the former. So they aren't interested in justifying the way they did things before. They're more just interested in making people value what they're doing now. And that is definitely going to hopefully be able to, well, it has the capacity to, if people are willing to listen, set an example for the other Hoyo games in terms of, listen, sometimes you need to accept that you made a bad decision and work to fix it. Because, you know, that guy who devised Bangbu TV and Arpeggio Fault and what was it, the Prophecy quest chain I haven't done because you said it was awful.
Yeah, bless his heart.
Like, that guy put a lot of work into it. He probably wrote an incredibly long design document and spent hours late at the office coding all that crap up. And it's gone. It's been scrapped. But it was scrapped because on balance, it was decided that it needed to be scrapped. That the game needed to change its direction because it was making people unhappy with the game.
Yeah.
And so they were willing to pull that trigger. And I think that Star Rail is going to have to pull that trigger sooner or later as well. Like, people are not happy with the constraints on their investment. They're not happy that their investment in characters in the game has been corralled into such a small corner where there's no room for player expression whatsoever. And they're going to have to devise a solution to that. Now, from their starting point, as a JRPG style game, it's going to be an incredibly difficult challenge to overcome. But it's going to hinge basically on their willingness to attempt it, because people forgive mistakes if a good enough attempt has been made. And people will go to bat for them if they can issue a sincere sounding mea culpa when they make a mistake. But people do not forgive resting on their laurels, ever.
Yeah, the ZZZ team also has two advantages that Star Rail does not have. The first advantage is the team appears, from what people have said, to be incredibly young and new developers. Not brand new, but definitely not as veteran as the Genshin Star Rail people. So they aren't baked into their ways as hard and are more likely to be able to realize, okay, maybe that was dumb. Maybe we shouldn't do that, and not sink their feet in. Number two, ZZZ is doing the worst financially of them, so they are incentivized to change things quickly if things don't work out, because their game probably costs a mint to make with all those custom animations they do all the time. And no matter how much Hoyo may love it, there's got to be some internal pressure at the company, like, your game's making the worst. Do something. We've got to get more sales. And Star Rail
Yeah,
does
I'm
not
not.
have either of those problems, because the Star Rail team is some of the veterans at Hoyo, and the Star Rail team is also making bank. And I guarantee this Castorus banner is not going to do anything to help that element of it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's actually possible for ZZZ to haul themselves out of that hole. I think that ZZZ has, by its nature, just a more niche appeal, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you can do to pull out of that. I think that, like, most developers have to come to a point where they just accept that as like the reality of the world,
Well,
is that
yeah.
you have an audience, and that sooner or later you can't expand that audience any further, and the size of that final audience varies from game to game.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, if we were not in the investor world, that would be fine for people to just say, we're making a profit, it's doing well, it's not going downhill. Our numbers, as long as our numbers don't go down, we're okay. We can continue to improve the game and strive for better, but it's not the end of the world if we don't make more and more profit every time, because I am worried about ZZZ running into trouble with that. But
They're probably spending money like water at this point.
yeah, they have spent a colossal amount on that project, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite them in the butt with their sales being lower. I hope ZZZ keeps doing better, because I want to see this kind of stuff rewarded. That's why I've been more eager to give ZZZ my money. I paid for, what is it, 3 characters now? Yeah, Jane, Bernice, and Ambi.
And they've been doing good so far. They've been very nimble compared to most developers, and not just gacha developers or Hoyo developers. Like, compared to developers generally, they've been way more nimble.
Yeah, they've been quick to fix anything wrong in ZZZ. Star Rail, they seem very, them and Genshin both are just don't seem very incentivized to make changes when they can just, and it really worries me with the latest way they push the marketing. Even though it was an anniversary and all that going on, and with all the big banner events, logging into this new patch and getting thrown to the Castorus banner right away rubbed me the wrong way and threw up a yellow flag.
There've been heaps of people whinging about that, but I think that's a petty and stupid concern to have, to be totally honest.
I
Because
hope,
nearly every gacha on Earth does that.
yeah, I hope it's not indicative of things to come, and that they are aware of the problems with the game. Because if the game didn't have very many problems, I wouldn't care.
I don't think you can take it as indicative of anything, and I don't think, even if it were linked, you still couldn't take it as indicative of anything, because it's just a standard for the industry.
Yeah,
It's an absolute standard for the industry. ZZZ does it as well. It's a little bit less obvious, but you're going to get forced to see the character debut animation the first time you go to the events menu, and you're going to go there. End of story.
yeah,
This is not
but,
something that ZZZ isn't doing. So to say that it's uniquely indicative of a bad direction in Star Rail is sort of senseless, because it's not indicative of a bad direction in ZZZ.
well, I wonder if it was oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Word on my brain. It's not coming out. Stuck. I can't pull it out right now. But
I mean, considering they sat down and they made a whole mountain of live 2D stuff for this patch that they didn't make for the last patch, this is likely to just be a part of that, because they've, they made piles of stuff. They did heaps and heaps of promotion for Castorus, because she's the poster girl for this patch, and they do this for usually 1 or 2 characters per sort of major chapter. And so, in Penacony they did it for Acheron, and they did it for Firefly, where they were just like the big characters, and they did massive marketing pushes around it. And they've got a team. The thing is that they have an IP management team, and the IP management team is also the one who suggested embedding that external stuff, like Castorus's backstory animation, into the game. And that IP management team, their focus is going to be on getting more of that type of content into the game, more of that sort of character promotional stuff in the game, because their job is to promote the IP, and this is going to be just part of their initiatives. And the way they phrased it in the developer talk, this is something that is sort of new to 3.x, is the IP team are going to intervene more and more in making sure that the IP is promoted in a cohesive way, so you don't have bits and pieces of promotion scattered in all sorts of random corners. Like, heaps and heaps of people don't know anything about the Myriad Celestia animations at all. They've just missed them completely.
What?
Because they're all on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and so those
I don't
people
have a
are
clue what
missing
those
out on
are.
story as a result. There's like per every patch, at least one character has one. And some characters, depending on the size of the patch and the prominence of the character, they will also have an animated short on top of that. And Castoris has all of the different types. Several characters do. Like Acheron got only got a trailer and a Myriad Celestia, but Firefly got a trailer and a Myriad Celestia and an animated short. And Acheron eventually got that one with Black Swan as well, which is sort of linked to it. And drove the shippers into a frenzy, despite the fact that they barely interact outside of that. They've got all of this IP work that has been done, but that team probably just feels like they've been left on the outs and nobody's seeing their work, because that stuff represents dozens of people putting hundreds and hundreds of hours in, and half the player base never even realizes they exist, let alone actually watches them. So giving them more latitude to graft that stuff in the game is probably why you're ending up with things like the Live 2D promotion arriving in there as well. Like, it would have been more reasonable to object to the spending event, even though that's sort of relatively normal for Hoyo, than it is to object to they're promoting a character that they want you to pull for.
I forgot the spending event was even happening.
Because it's not relevant to most people. In fact, it is spending events historically have been kind of a meme in Hoyoverse. Like, depending on the angle that it's approached, ones that involve a lot of purchasing tend to, like in the case of Star Rail, it's the I'm Darway's greatest warrior is the meme. But if you spend lots of money in Hoyo and Honkai 3rd, it's basically about people getting incredibly sweaty about whether or not they should pull on a banner or whether they should save everything, because spending events are hooked into spending events also count currency acquired in game, because they're counted off of the Jade equivalent rather than off of the Honoric Shard equivalent. You couldn't really count anything off Honoric Shards in Honkai Impact 3rd because the currency system has become so incomprehensibly Byzantine that you can hardly work out how to buy things. And in fact, you can buy things wrong and get the wrong type of exchange rate in Honkai 3rd by accident because it's so overcomplicated due to being an 8-year-old gacha. But it's not like any veterans of Hoyo take that stuff particularly seriously because it's just always been there. But I can sort of understand the newer crowd being a bit bushwhacked by that, and it's like they're demanding that I spend money to get, to get a background for the phone. Yeah, okay. You can get a free standard character if you go all the way up.
Yeah, ain't that like?
Well, not quite all the way up, but what is that worth? They gave you a free one as well, so it's going to be a standard character in Eidolon. I mean,
is that
that's a nice reward, but is it worth $200?
Can you get Lorcha or Ranmei with it as well?
Oh yeah, because it's anybody from the shop. So you could buy one limited that is quite good still, because she plays into an archetype, and one limited who is still useful but is definitely well behind the meta. Because Lorcha's level of power is like, in terms of sustains, he's regarded as being better than Bailu.
You should have seen.
That's the faint praise that you can give to Lorcha.
You should have seen the YouTube commentary when Castoris was coming out, because they need to drum up something to make content with, and all of them, I don't know if they were collaborating this or if they just stumbled upon this wonderful idea to have a unique hot take individually, but they were all recommending people don't get Ranmei and get Lorcha instead from like the 2 videos I watched.
Luocha is good for Castoris. Like Luocha is one of the best fit for Castoris. But I would argue that number one, Gallagher's better than Luocha for this context, even on paper and in practice, probably. And in addition to that, I would argue that the main reason you wouldn't use Lingsha is that she's on the other team because she fits both follow up and break. But she adequately fits the Castoris team as well. I think that a really well built Gallagher is probably better than Lingsha for the Castoris team, and I think that a well built Gallagher, or even a moderately well built Gallagher, is probably better than Luocha as well.
Yeah,
But Luocha is definitely good for the Castoris team. There's no doubt about it. But I would, if you don't have Ruan Mei, I wouldn't pick Ruan Mei over Luocha. I wouldn't fail to pick Ruan Mei over Luocha unless you have absolutely no interest in what she provides, because you've got heaps of other premium supports and don't run break. Like, both of those things have to be true. You have to, if you don't have Ruan Mei and you have no interest in break, and you don't you've got other replacement premium supports, because remember, Ruan Mei is still a utility knife support. She much in the way that Robin eclipsed Ruan Mei because Robin gives so much attack as a generic support, but now that not everybody scales with attack, Ruan Mei is now pulled up alongside Robin and to some extent Triby as a premium harmony of generic usability. So there's a very, very strong argument that Ruan Mei is still the best of the bunch. I would not pull Luocha over Ruan Mei if I had neither of them, just because of Castoris, simply because Gallagher will be just as good. You've just got to build him, that's all. And you will eventually have Gallagher. They've given Gallagher out for free twice. If you still don't have him, and you wanted him for any reason, well, that's just your own silly fault, isn't it?
Yeah, what I want to see them do more right now, they need to prioritize focus on making this long, since they've committed to this long story arc, they need to prioritize making that as presentable as possible and up that presentation factor a lot. Now that they're weaving the online stuff into the game, it allows them to practice cinematically directing those things and writing them very cohesively into the story, and you could even break them up and do multiple ones.
Well, what we really want to see is kind of a sort of a pseudo merger between those two teams. The team that's developing the cinematics from outside and the team that is working on the in-engine stuff.
Send me a quest.
Yeah, I went off and started hunting stray Arkvelds.
But
there's been times where I've looked at every zone and there's an Arkveld in all of them, I think.
But no tempered, so I just went after a regular one because I only need chainblade bits and that's it.
you got enough tails and orbs?
Yep, I just need the chainblade bits.
I'll prioritize
chainblade bits.
Prioritize chainblades. I'll get the
There's also a tempered gore around here, so just mind that.
I think Gore is scarier than Arkveld, to be totally honest. Even though he's always a star behind, I find him much more difficult. He's got way more fake out abilities. Arkveld fights you pretty honest for the most part.
Yeah, I think Arkveld is more explosive for a longer amount of time, but Gore can just consistently be moderately highly dangerous. And if you don't, and he has the frenzy tack on, you have to find a way to deal with. So
he can and will jump behind you and whop you. If you're a slow weapon person like me, you are going to get hit. You need to be prepared for it.
pretty in yellow, and I haven't even got the tail wounds yet.
I think that being that you're a JRPG, you need to, number one, live like it. Definitely need to have a very definitive focus on presenting that story to the absolute utmost. That has to be your top concern. But I think that they basically need to get the ideas incubator going and brainstorm ideas to deviate from the norm, because the norm is not going to sustain them indefinitely. And if maybe you could do that if you had a pre-established fan base and your presentation was perfect, but it's not. So you have to, work around that and improve your presentation and come up with things that will keep people engaged. Like, I actually, to be honest, I found while it needs perhaps some additional development and additional spins on the concept, I found like the mano a mano phase in the latest Apocalyptic Shadow was really an interesting approach.
It
Now,
was
if you could sort of bake that sort of, okay, we're changing the rules now, everything is going to be different for a second. If they could bake that into more things and even leverage it as a form of combat-based storytelling as well, I think that would be really beneficial to the game as a whole.
yeah, it was certainly novel. I did enjoy that they tried something different with it, but
I mean, they may only be taking baby steps, but anybody who's designing a JRPG is definitely going to be ultra conservative because as a genre, it's ultra conservative.
I get the concuss. Yep. Oh, I'm going with him.
Oh, these bugs. Get off. Ah! Pink bugs.
Yeah. If they can get the story presentation really amped up, I think that'll take care of the first thing they got going right now and get that work on the camera angles, add more as many CGs as they can afford to get away with, and improve their way they integrate them cutscenes and keep pushing that to see how far they can take it. The story will probably be in a pretty good spot. And the next thing I think they need to do is really try and come up with a way to get that tails off. Right chain blade's broke. Just need the left one.
Nice. Oh, there's Gore.
Who just arrived? Gore. Oh, fantastic.
So, things are about to get bad.
It looks like he got bored.
Oh. Guess we're beneath his notice.
He saw this going on. He's like, nah, not today. But if they can get that done, their next priority needs to be finding a way to make more use of the characters that you pull away for.
Yeah, I've said this exact thing in basically every feedback is that you need to make the characters that people like more present on a sort of moment by moment basis. The way in Genshin you do your exploring as the characters you like, and I think there's that Genshin's biggest strength is that you can use those characters to do everything. They're not just passively present until combat starts. Wow, that hurt.
Got that one on the face. I did that one.
Which chain blade did we break again?
They're both broken, I think. Got a wound and not the counter. Chain blade. But yeah, that'll come with time, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm just it's been good to have that ZZZ team there because they've been sort of pace setters for everybody else. Like much in the way the only thing that seemed to thaw the Genshin team out of their complacency was competition from Star Rail, and so I'm just hoping that the same thing will apply in the case of Star Rail now relative to ZZZ. Right, I think we can get this right somehow without popping the sodding barrels.
Yeah. At least now with the focus, you can actually make the turn. Or you could do that.
First hit of the last swing got him. I don't know how much damage that does, though.
No, the last hit did, and it did 600 damage. Thanks you very much. Well, nearly.
No.
Oh, yeah, Angie.
Yeah. Not appear to be having a good time. You
Oh,
can't
that
block.
hurt.
You can't block that. How about that?
Oh, you can block that one. That's not the one I was talking about before. He's got another dragon supercharged one that seems to always land no matter whether I'm blocking or not.
I bonked this guy's head with my shield summon. Might be close to another cuss at this rate.
And speed that one along for you. If he turns around long enough for me to do so. Yes.
There he goes.
You're
There's a
welcome.
concuss.
Yeah. So, other than Star Rail,
So the latest event for Blue Archive was this week as well, which is the Idoru event. I pulled all 3 of the Idorus. I got Sakurako on whatchamacallit, Mari's banner instead of Sakurako's banner, and I didn't get Mari at all. I had to spark her, and Mine is a freebie character, so I have all 3 of the Idorus. The story was relatively enjoyable. I was just sort of a little bit rustled that they basically used the opportunity to flanderize Nagisa yet again, which they do every single time they get a chance. Just is frustrating to me because she's one of my favorite characters. But they always seem to default as, haha, look how stupid Nagisa is, when this is just an emotional response generated by being mad at her over the events of Eden Treaty, when, in my opinion, is basically none of the events of Eden Treaty were solely her fault, but everybody blames her for them entirely for some reason. Like, if you think about her position, she wasn't actually wrong about anything. Like, the intelligence that she received about Hifumi being involved in organized crime was true. She helped a bank heist take place. And the information she received about there being an Arius traitor mole in Trinity was true. The information about Hanako sandbagging was true. Like, all of this information that she had that made her paranoid was true. She was right. She was absolutely right. And looking at the other aspects of things, like, well, her position is she's in charge of the largest and most fractious school in Kivotos. It's supposed to be a tripartite rulership, but the 2 people she's closest to, her fellow Tea Party leaders, one of them is dead as far as she knows, which is something that's unheard of in Kivotos, and the other one is away with the fairies and doesn't seem to care. And she's supposed to be her closest childhood friend, and she's just avoiding her entirely. And left behind as the only person who seems to give a toss about carrying on the General Student Council President's legacy of getting the Eden Treaty running, and she's the only one who seems to want it to happen. Everybody else is perfectly okay with war. So she is in kind of a rough position when she makes her bad judgments. She is not just stupid, which is what everybody keeps saying, which is very frustrating. Anyway, that's Nagisa simp time over.
This pre or post localization changeover?
We're in the post era now. You can tell by the way things have been translated that they are definitely in the post era, because all of the comments from the students are, because of the genre, very mildly flirtatious, or at least they are now. Before, they were completely neutered, just replaced with generic stuff that didn't really make much sense a lot of the time. But now they're back to being sort of mildly flirtatious.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I'm just frustrated by the fact that they're in the plot now, sort of cooperating with her flanderization. Like, there is a little extra epilogue scene between Sensei and Nagisa, where Nagisa's sort of like moping a bit because she's made a whole bunch of mistakes in the story, and nobody seems to be interested in spending time with her. She's completely on her own. The thing that she wanted to do, because on one of the very rare occasions she actually expressed her own desires about something, nobody seemed to care. So she's moping around, and Sensei basically cheers her up, sort of thing. But they still, in that little vignette, they make everything her fault. Everything is her fault. That's the reason why nobody likes her, is everything is her fault. But yeah, ultimately it is just a case of she's lonely because she's the leader, because nobody else in Trinity has an iota of responsibility.
Yeah. Don't look at me. My favorite characters are Cheerbot and Hanako.
Good old Cheerbot. But yeah, so the event overall, I mean, mechanically was a regular event, and story-wise, it's not terrible. The main story is not terribly long, but there are heaps of little epilogues where you get to see things like the whole thing revolves around an idol competition, and some of the epilogues actually take place before the main story. So you get to see the engineering club's entry to the idol competition, which is basically a whole bunch of inventions for special effects being piloted by the two subordinates, and Utaha singing Enka on stage.
Uh-huh.
Because this is Utaha's idea of what an idol does, is singing Enka.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, they flanderize the insanity and just dumb ideas the engineering club has a lot of the time. But having met real engineers, I don't think they went far enough. Like these girls are
real
too
engineers is that they're lazy.
like these girls are too competent to be engineers. Like they can actually make the cheerbot. You probably shouldn't make the cheerbot, but they can do it.
There's they also make good on a couple of previous plot threads that were paid out in the main story as well as in other events. And one of these is that in the course of the latter chapters of Foreclosure Task Force, Serica ends up making a promise that she'll accede to her senior's demands and make her idol debut along with Ayane.
Oh
And
dear.
so she ends up doing that, or being forced to do that.
Oh.
She is none too pleased about it, though. But yeah, they're retranslating all of they're retranslating like at least I think 5 or 6 characters Bond events that were changed radically by the previous localization, and they're retranslating the Foreclosure Task Force early chapters because apparently those were mutilated quite badly as well. So yeah, it seems like popular demand has finally gotten them to sack their previous localization people, because it was for multiple patches running over the past 6 months. Every single patch that dropped a new character, there has been once the community worked out what was happening, they've been doing this every single patch. They would go through all of the languages, original language, and retranslate each of them and show that they all lined up except the English, which had been neutered in some way and made into some sort of bland generic line. And so and then there would be a sub patch released a week or so after the original patch where they changed the translation again to back to what it was supposed to be. And obviously Nexon have just gotten sick of having to release these translation patches, so they've just fired those people, it sounds like.
Good.
Speaking of firing, hopefully Oyo gets their button gear and fires some voice actors.
We'll see. It'll be big and noisy when it happens, though.
Yeah, and there'll be lots of people saying you can cash at me some money to show your support, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, it's on Blue Sky where everybody else is also broke.
But yeah, as far as the other games are concerned, I'm currently hoarding resources for Vivian and ZZZ. Although I'm sort of wondering, like, yes, it's probably the best idea to flesh out the ether side of my roster, and Vivian's a good way to do that, even if she's anomaly, and I'm sort of a bit dubious about anomaly in a variety of ways. But the it's probably the way I'll go. I'll probably pull on that banner. But the next Void Hunter is basically ZZZ Ningguang. So it's like, well, I don't really have much choice, do I? I'm going to have to pull for her. She's got the same sort of color palette and everything, and she's sort of the nominal ruler of the Chinese themed area and everything. So yeah, she's ZZZ Ningguang.
Yeah, very much so.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. ZZZ's pretty generous with its currency, and it's not like I'm going to pull on Hugo, so... Which is why I was sort of a bit bewildered that they had
Sleepy.
Butcher and... That they put Butcher and what's his name? The sacrifice guy, Bringer, in the same Deadly Assault, when I would have thought that they would have saved that one for when Hugo was out. Since it's sort of... It would result in restraining less people on average, but whatever works for you guys, I guess. But in Genshin, I haven't done anything this week. I've been meaning to get around to doing some more exploration content so I can hit that 80% threshold and stop worrying about missing out on the primos. But I haven't got around to it yet. And the only other thing I've done in Genshin is repeatedly fail to get any decent relics from the new domain. I'm not sure if there are any good relics in the new domain. Because I've never seen one. I have no evidence that any exist.
There are some by proxy. You just take what you get from that domain and throw it in the mulch machine.
I already did that, and I got nothing good. I told you already. 300, it might be 400 in fact. Relics I put into the grinder and got nothing that was good out. There's a dead fish everywhere. What is this? You're ruining the natural environment. What's wrong with you, Arkfeld?
Timing on that wrong. This Dune is messing us up.
Sure.
That was a lie. I did not engage in a power clash.
I blocked that video game. I hear what you say. What's up, Balara? You want in on this?
Why not? Yep, he's in here. Hello.
He's such a low tier monster. He's trying his best.
That's okay. The thing, the Arkville was chewing on a toad when I got here. I think Tetsukabra just eased out. Yeah, Tetsukabra.
Oh, okay. It's like, you mean like a paratoad? That seems like he's...
Oh, they have a turf war? How is this going to go?
It's probably not well for Balahara, I'm willing to bet.
No, he's got this. I believe in our little worm man. He didn't do good.
That's what you get for keeping your eyes between your teeth. That's not where they go.
Left chain blade.
Yes, that's the Kala shell I needed. I'm done. My armor's going to be finished.
Tails off. Left chain blade's broken. Right chain blade and head for full break. Unless the right one broke when I wasn't paying attention. Okay, that's the unblockable one, where he crisscrosses the middle ones.
I told you that there was one. Oh, come on. From behind the sand dune, really? You're bullying me.
Trying to get his other wingticle. There it goes. Okay, now just that.
Yep.
Wingticle?
Wingticle.
Oh, he hit me there. I am sure. I am sure how he hit me there. That was just bad timing.
Can't believe I finally managed to pull it off. Greatsword can knock that attack out of the air. It's just not easy to do. I mean, he'd be dead by now if I was focusing on killing him rather than doing that, but...
Oh, now he's
running
leaving.
away. Who does he think he is?
Here. Booty, I'm coming for that booty.
Oh my.
Yep.
Is he planning a fight or anything?
Nope.
No. He got Schwieged
Okay.
and was like, no, I thought I got away from you idiots.
I want nothing
Well,
to
you're
do
not
with this. Leave me alone.
Shouldn't have molested him then.
Should have been
That's
mean
not
to
what-
take the cover it then.
Not what a cloaca is for. Anyway, I don't have anything else for my week.
All right, Ari, what do?
This week, video games. Star Rail is in just passive farm mode. Turn it on when I put my pants on. And call it ZZZ is I'm pre-farming a little bit for Vivian, but I'm just I don't plan on paying for her. I don't know if I'm gonna get her.
Oh, damn it. Oh boy. Get me out of here.
Stab more. Stab more. There you go. Whee!
But you got the Power Clash.
I actually got it that time.
I think you have more Power Clash value than I do.
Yeah, the Great Shield classes I think do.
Yeah, because I also perfect guard the same one and I gave it to you.
You can dual power clash. You can, in fact, quadruple power clash if everybody's got the exact same timing.
See. Oh, he's full
That
broke.
sounds like absolute chaos.
It looks very silly. I've seen videos of it. What? That hurts. I was standing in it.
Is he where I need him to be? No, not quite.
He's got me. Get me out of here. Get me
What's
out of
that?
here. No.
Oh, that's smarts. Is he gonna let me go and heal? Nope.
Right. Oh, I got the bonus mount.
Okay. I can heal now.
Taking him down as soon as he appears.
And he's dead. That is my
Did you actually bring him
incredibly
down,
fluffy armor
or
complete.
He's dead. He died while I
did
was
he die
doing.
during the?
Yeah,
Okay.
he died during the
Yeah.
bonk 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 into my finisher.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah, you like stick your sword in them and hammer the sword with the shield into their head. It's kind of graphic. But yeah, the rest of my week, Genshin is also in a holding pattern for now, but I did do some work on my Bayonetta chicken and got her to level 90. Still don't have Farina
Nice.
leveled up. I've been out of Mora and EXP. So I've just been trying to accrue that. Lots and lots of ley lines. While dumping 60 stamina in the double drop domains. I got a flower and a feather with dual substats, and a bad hat with like no substats, but it has the right primary stat. So I crafted a goblet and stuck it on my cow and leveled up those pieces, and they're not good, but the cow has her set now. And took the rest of my crap and threw it all in the mulch machine. I got good enough for tier set for my Bayonetta chicken. And Farina got, well, it's better than nothing.
He just needs HP and HP and more HP.
So yeah, there are some pieces that don't have HP or energy regen.
I've
But
got 5 perfect DOS hits this time.
yeah, they're working their way towards ready to go. I can use the chicken now. It's only talent levels are only 667, but it's not as important for the support to be maxed out because all of her damage amping is in her passive that you can't level up. And leveling up her stuff just increases her heal and her little chicken dive. Farina is 111 and not even level 90 yet. Still got a long way to go. And Eon-san is level 90, but I think is also 111. At least she was able to kidnap some Cinder City pieces from people. So she should not be as bad. You're up. And yeah, that's where the Genshin characters are going. Trying to get 3 characters leveled up, or 4 characters if you count the cow, leveled up to 90 and workable at the same time has left me bankrupt in Mora.
As it does.
Mora and EXP books. And yeah, I'm trying to navigate that. So it's slow coming. There's no rush to get them leveled up. But yeah. Let's see. The main thing I did this week. Well, I attempted to get
Before
my.
we move on, I would just like to briefly express my undying hatred for the weasel.
Oh, yeah, because you don't. You have to take the slow plunge and attack route.
Yes, I do. The very slow route.
The pillow
Like
route.
about 50%. About 50% of the time, I can kill it before it goes into its silly guard phase thing. But it's still it's a very stupid mechanic because there's only a handful of characters that can do anything about it. The rest of them just have to literally just stand there and wait for it to be over.
Yeah, if you don't have one of the super jumpers from Sitlali's tribe, or Cal, or Bayonetta Chicken, or Gaming, that's really it. Oh, what's the windy boy, the edgy boy from Liyue? He can do it.
Sure.
Yeah, Xiao can do it. But that's it. If you don't have one of them characters, that hamster is going to sit in that ball. They're very clearly weasels in design, but because they roll up into a ball, like a literal hamster ball, they immediately get translated to hamsters in my brain. So yeah. So all the Hoyo games are pretty much on just holding, waiting for the new drops. The next banner in Star Rail will be a beat banner for me. I don't think there's any reruns on it that I want. And Nax is a boy.
Yeah, it's a Dr. Ratio's the rerun.
Yeah. And we got
he's sort of like Jing Yuan in the sense that he's got some die-hard fans who are going to pull regardless.
Yeah. Like if I did not grab Fei Xiao, then it still wouldn't be considered because I'm not idling an Icky boy.
His eidolons aren't very good anyway, relatively speaking.
But Genshin, the current banner is a skip. I'm skipping the next banner too, I think, because I don't really have a way to leverage a cryo offense team. I'm not planning to build damage Sitlali. And I just don't love Rosaria that much.
Well, it's not really. She's not really designed for anybody who's currently in the game, though you could use her with Risley. But Escoffier is clearly designed with Skirk in mind.
Yeah, and I was planning on skipping Skirk. So maybe quite a few banners of Sabian and Genshin, unless a rerun comes around in the middle of them that is basically Nailu or Kokomi.
Skirk's kit is a bit vague on the leaks, but it sounds like it's basically sort of a hybrid of Mavwika and Clorinda.
Yeah, we'll have to see when more stuff comes out about her. But at present, I'm planning on just saving. I pulled for Cal. I'm skipping this entire banner. I don't need Zalonin or a weapon. I don't need NT for anything. Especially because I got Bayonetta Bird. Like, yeah, I just I'll be not pulling on banners for a bit. And Genshin is the current plan. Maybe Nailu or Kokomi will come around for a rerun, and I'll have a reason to pull for something. But those are really the only two things on my rerun lookout for list. And Nailu's only on it for the memes, and Kokomi because she's cute fishwife, and I like healers. Let's see.
This is because you can only have the Eternal Idol of Mondstadt on one team.
Yes, and sometimes Barbara needs a break. Like Barbara has been working her butt off for 4 years. She deserves to take a vacation.
There's an Arkveld up.
That's all right. I'm done with Arkvelds.
You looked at his weapon to see if it's a good placeholder?
I don't think there actually is an Arkveld lance. Hang on a sec.
There's definitely an Arkveld lance. There's an Arkveld everything.
Or was it terrible? I can't remember. One of the two. Let me look.
Could be both.
Yep.
Might be both.
So, Star Rail, next banner is a total wash. I'm not pulling for anything. So saving the rest of this banner and the entirety of next banner. Might pull for Hyacine and or Cypher. Still undecided, depends on their final kits. Because in Star Rail I have to think about things much more mechanically than if I just like the character. So I'll have to see.
I haven't been doing that. I've just been pulling on characters that I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the use case for Hyacine, everybody's still scratching their heads over. Nobody's really sure exactly how she'll work because with her current numbers, she's not really good for any team comp. And Cypher is another one where everybody can see how she works, but nobody knows what team she belongs to. So people are wondering if maybe she's actually being designed for a future character.
Yeah. Cypher I
Because
just
she's
think is
like
cute.
hard. She's like, sort of like she's like she's a Nihility designed for Hunt, the way that Chibi is a Harmony designed for Erudition.
Yeah.
It seems that Cypher's main strength is to provide supporting damage, which is amped massively against a single character by basically recording incoming damage on a character through her debuff and then paying it back out again.
Yeah. And it looks like it can move around like Numbies right now, last I heard. Can adjust who has it with their skill and stuff. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like that's not. It doesn't exactly scream. Oh, it definitely belongs in this team. And to some extent, I think that's a good thing. It would be better if every character was like that. But yeah, it's nobody's really sure what the use case is for Cypher or Hyacine right now.
So yeah, they're definite maybes. Where we'll see with them, but it's
I was never
possible.
really a huge fan of Pard in Honkai Impact Third, so I'm not that interested in Cypher. But Eternal Idol of Amphorius is just adorable. So
Yeah.
and I've seen her combat animations, and it's basically weaponized Twee.
Yeah, that was a big point in me going for it. She is just overloads you on the diabetes with her animations. What you call it? And ZZZ making a solid attempt next banner, but I do not plan to spend for it. Going to skip Hugo for obvious penis related reasons.
It's a worrying way to put it.
I did not understand the description of his skills. Like I don't really get it.
I don't understand the descriptions of pretty much any skills in Ho-Yo games. I just push the buttons and figure it out.
Well, the one thing that I did notice is that they had, rather than being limited to like the anomaly callouts and the disorder callout, they're just adding heaps and heaps of random words that pop up now and characters coming out.
Yeah, it's just walls and walls of text that, like, please.
Well, I mean, there's already numbers everywhere, so I guess if they've used up all the numbers, you've got to move on to letters, like hexadecimal, right?
Yeah. So all the Ho-Yo games are like this for me, though. I generally don't care about the specifics of the kit and how it gets down nitty gritty. I'll figure it out as I play, and if I get really interested in the character, then I'll look it up.
And the regular Arkfeld Lance doesn't look bad to me at all. It looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah.
Hello?
Maybe he went
What's up?
AFK. Oh no, there he is.
Yep. I don't know. I think is Discord being weird again?
I don't know, because I addressed you directly and you just said nothing. So
Sorry,
I was like,
yeah.
can you hear it? Like, what is going on?
I didn't hear it. I think Discord.
I was just pointing out to you that I can't see anything wrong with the basic Arkfeld Lance. It seems really good. It's just a solid all rounder. Bit of dragon element on there.
You got a choice between the Arkfeld and the Guardian Arkfeld. They're both largely the same, except Guardian Arkfeld swaps some element for raw attack, and the other's the other way.
I would go for white sharpness in all cases.
White sharpness is almost always the correct answer.
Yeah, you just don't want to tink if you don't have to.
And the damage multiplier is worth it.
Yeah.
So
all I need is some Hunter symbol 3s.
So it's tempered then.
Yep.
It's tempered.
Load up them tempered for big stars. Then I'll get Fern with a workable set, and then he just will need to cram decorations in that and decide if he wants to try hard on Ardians.
Depends on how try hard I want to get. Also, if I paint my current armor green, I will look like a bush.
Yes. Yes, you would.
Do you have like some sort of bizarre zeal to look as ridiculous as possible in every circumstance?
Well, he's got the male Arkfeld armor that's like, you know how we have like the little shoulder fur cape?
Yeah.
He's got...
Except, I kind of got a bit of a mix of both, which I usually do now. But, yeah, the tummy window with everything else looks very silly.
It says the guy with the bird on his head.
I know, right? The bird is not silly. The bird is proud. The bird is noble. Do not diss the bird.
Let's do something different to who we're fighting so far for some variation.
Also, the helmet does make me look like a bush.
Oh, that one.
That one. Yeah, okay, we can do that one.
So yeah.
Well, we don't have to do them if you don't want to do them. Like, we can do
We
something
can do
else.
that one. He's got good rewards on him.
No, I just have to adjust my brain space whenever we fight fat waterlogged Jagras.
Yes. Give me a sec to just restock my supplies.
This will probably
He's
get
very
you.
fat.
This will get you to 50, Fern.
It should. I'm right on the verge of it.
Yeah,
I think he's weak versus lightning, right?
probably.
I think so. Yes.
He is extremely fat.
So yeah. So Genshin, Star Rail, and ZZZ, all of them held for the moment. Not sure where I'm going with any of them in the future because I don't really have anything I'm particularly looking forward to in any of them. Since I planned on skipping Skirk, the only thing that could sell it is if her gameplay comes out and it looks really good from the betas.
Yeah, there's the forthcoming Star Rail characters that I haven't mentioned so far. There are three total unknowns amongst the Flame Chasers still yet to be revealed, and the smart money is on one of them being Don Hung and the other one being March.
Yeah.
But why the Buttervision again?
Well, he seems to just get extra versions all the time. That seems he's been made front and center for a reason. And when it comes to like non-demigod individuals, he may be playing it quiet and spending all his time in the library so far in the story, because that's what Don Hung do. But he's definitely got a raw power level way higher than everybody else because he's a freaking Dragon Elder. Like
Yeah.
he's punches well above his weight, and he's just been, sitting quietly, pretending not to be very important so far. The only thing he's done in the story so far is get his spear broken.
So he's going to get stabbed and he's going to get a new form. That's how this goes.
That's how it works. Well, I mean, Finon has already been stabbed so far in the story, so we're just waiting to see what his form will be, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Did March end up getting stabbed for her new form?
No, March is frozen currently. Spoilers.
Close enough.
no, she did some stabbing to get her new form.
Yeah, she learned how to stab things. That's what she did to get a form. Oh my goodness.
Well, as long as someone's getting stabbed.
He was fat on top of me. He's still being fat on top of me.
I haven't restocked on anything for the past several quests.
You can't counter water.
Why is he being fat? He's still being fat on top of me. I can't get out of the way. Oh my goodness. I'm getting absolute beating. Oh, thank you for power clashing and occupying him for a bit so that I can get out from under his fat belly. He's just sort of writhing around now, is he?
He was.
Yeah,
he was
kind of flopping.
He was deep roofing.
No, come back.
Why is he beating me down constantly? Fight somebody else, you fat
fish thing.
Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna freaking die. Leave me alone!
What did you do to him?
I don't know. Maybe I owe him money and I forgot.
Then every single attack he does is kind of a wide sweeping flop, so he's just kind of.
Yeah, but they're all aimed at me. That's the thing. Oh, now he's looking at Fern. I'll take that.
No, he's
gonna
not.
reef roof, is he? He's gonna reef roof. No, he's just sort of writhing around some more.
He's kind of flopping around.
He's spin attacking.
I thought he was in his reef roof mode.
He's spin attacking me and Fern over here.
Well, I'm underneath him, so technically he's been attacking me.
So yeah, so that's all the Hoyo games. The other game that ate up the majority of my week that I want to talk the most about is the game I was talking about last week, and that's Kezan First Berserker.
Yes.
So, I expected nothing from this game at first until I saw Iron Pineapple play it when I bought it last week, as I mentioned, and it looked like a ton of fun. And I have bought games on his recommendation before because he is generally has that hurts.
That's
And generally he lines up pretty close to me in the Souls subgenre. So with stuff I'm looking for. So I took his recommendation when I saw him playing. Oh, I'm in Power Clash mode now. Nope, Fern's in it.
No, he flopped out of it.
Yeah, I got no UI prompt or anything.
why did if you got no UI prompt, why did you think you were in Power Clash?
Oh, because it went into a semi awkward camera angle. It looked like it was going cinematic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah
it does that sometimes.
bizarre presentation. That just to make sure that you get as disoriented as possible.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had that happen a couple of times. The game thinks, or the game triggers the Power Clash, but the monster has other ideas. It kind of just flops around.
Well, I have seen you particularly. The UI will come up on my screen say you've engaged in a Power Clash, but it doesn't start.
Yeah. It just happens sometimes, and I think that's just when the monster's locked in an animation.
Oh, that's a big belly flop.
Get some impressive hang time on that thing.
Maybe he's full of helium.
Yeah,
Maybe.
all that floaty water.
See. Now, you have a nap. I need to heal.
Sharpen.
Yes, so do I. I will play the song of his people.
Of course, he fell down when I could have sharpened. But yeah, so Kezan, picked it up off Iron Pineapple's recommendation, and when I saw his video on it, and it has genuinely impressed me in a lot of ways that I didn't expect it to. A lot of it I don't like that it impressed me that way.
Game.
Yeah, especially for a game with an IP that I don't generally consider
nobody outside Korea cares about.
Yeah. Like I'm sure they have oodles of money from Korea because it is really, and for the longest time was stupidly popular over there. It might still be for all I know, but it due to a lack of marketing.
High school computer science classes.
Yeah. It doesn't.
I just got washed away from the battle.
Yeah, he washed me
in a cave.
Yeah, he washed me over there earlier.
He kind of does that. He's gonna flom off.
Yeah.
Okay, off he goes.
I got hit a lot because I was trying to talk. I might go find one of your camps. Have any camps? Don't appear to have any camps. All right, I'll go back to base.
Well, people keep breaking them. I can't maintain them for any length of time.
Honestly, I don't bother with the camps either. It's just annoying more than anything else. Like, yes, they rebuild themselves, but more often than not, when you actually need them, they're just broken.
Mine are just placed randomly. I do not pay any attention to them whatsoever. Don't even use it to get to the monster faster. I just literally run out of the base and let the circuit take me there.
Yeah. The regions aren't really that big.
Yeah, so first off, what's this game like? Well, it's in the Soul subgenre, so you know what you're expecting there. You drop your EXP when you die at the spot you died. There are bonfires you rest at that reset the enemies when you rest there. There's a stamina bar. Attacks are varying levels of committal, but all have commitment to them. And boss fights are going to be based around learning the boss's moves and when to dodge or block appropriately. So all of that's intact. This game actually out of the box, if you haven't seen people play it, if you're a veteran of the genre, is going to go probably look a little sketchy for some people because there just is less going on there. There's only 3 weapon types. you have dual wielding, a sword and an axe. You have great swords, and you have a spear. And these are the all rounder with a slight emphasis on speed for the dual wielding. You got well, great sword does great sword things.
Just chop.
Yeah, it is particularly good at perfect blocking and doing return damage when you perfect block. Uh, it is not great at stamina damage. Drop him. I didn't mean to actually. Oh, we need to pull down this stupid thing on him.
If he's
Wait
in the
till we
right
can
spot,
score a
go
knockdown
for
off
it.
of it. No, wait till we can get a knockdown.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
I
do
was
that.
Waste.
I
Never
was
mind. Ah!
I was already hooked onto the thing when you said that. I think that's a full break unless his head can break twice. But so you have the lance is your least commitment per individual swing, but a heavy focus on combos and setup if you want to do proper damage. As in, you need to land the full 3-hit basic light attack combo string to give yourself a buff that enables most of the rest of your kit. So you cover your 3 archetypes pretty well. Well-rounded, with a slight focus on speed, your big, slow, heavy attacker weapon, and your toolbox weapon. None of them have anything blatantly broken about them that I've discovered in my play. I have not experimented super deep, but I have tried all the weapons fairly extensively. He is frozen at the water's edge.
He seems
That's
to be
not good.
bugging out a little bit, yeah.
He's just sort of sitting there on my screen.
Now he's behaving. Oh no, he's going to
He's
nap.
asleep.
Oh, his nap? Okay. Do I have bombs? Yes.
That'll work.
Oh, come on. I'm always too close or too far away. What is this?
There you go.
So I've gravitated towards the spear as my main weapon because I like having the options, even though it has to do a lot more work to get its damage going. It does not reward with raw damage on block, and its kill time is much slower, but you just have more tools to play with. And that's the
Okay.
other, that's what I've been playing with mainly. Although I do often swap between the weapons because the kicker with these 3 weapons existing is instead of having a whole mess of different weapons that are all either half baked or not fully fleshed out, we just have 3 weapons with full skill trees that you get skill points for as you progress. The game will hard lock the amount of skill points you can get until you pass story mission thresholds, so you can't get too overpowered for the early missions, which I appreciate. You can't get the really powerful abilities until much later. And you have to decide if you want a bunch of general utility stuff in addition to your normal weapon skill tree stuff while you're when you're spending those skill points, because those also take the skill points. Wound. I'm just gonna.
Didn't even get to do his special super attack that time.
But yeah. So this means you just have 3 very complete weapon packages, and just due to not being able to max out one of the weapons yet, I haven't experimented with everything they have to offer. But of the stuff I've tried, just trying to be optimal with it, I haven't found anything blatantly busted, which has been great. The other thing about the weapons is you can respec them whenever the heck you want.
Oh, that's nice.
If you have all your talent points put into the spear tree and you pick up a really good pair of dual blades that you want to try out, you just open the skill menu, go to the spear page, hit L3 and tell it yes, and it refunds all your skill points for that page. and you go dump them in the dual blades tree and try it there. You cannot save loadouts, but which is about the only criticism I can put on it, because switching frequently can be a bit of a pain. But switching, every 3 or 4 missions to a different weapon to give it a shot ain't too bad. As it is right now, and they're not enough skill points to allocate around once you switch that it takes too terribly long to switch them. Stats.
What were you eating, Aristeel, that you used 11 items?
I did not bring any mega potions.
Oh, so you just had to chain chug little ones.
Yeah, so anytime I took damage, I had to drink like 3 potions.
I don't think I used any potion. I think my cat kept me alive. Oh no, hold on, I don't have a cat. So what kept me alive? Armor here.
I was trying to talk and fight at the same time, so I was getting hit way more. So this is very nice and makes switching gameplay style fairly painless. It may take you a minute to do it, but it's not too bad. Gear system. How does this work in the game? Well, you have your we have the Neo system again, which is my least favorite of the Souls gear systems. However, we do have a major factor alleviating some of the pain that comes with the Neo system. Stranger from Paradise did not get this right, and thankfully, Kezan is a huge step in the right direction by just reducing the amount of loot vomit you get, and not putting an emphasis on needing to hope you get the perfect piece to drop, because it is fairly inexpensive to take a piece of gear of a set. Like every piece of gear, it seems, is part of a set that has a set bonus, so you're incentivized to try and get all the pieces. And just go talk to the lady that you can mulch your stuff into EXP for, and spend some EXP to reroll substats, and it's not that much. It's something like 3% of a level to reroll a substat. So if you get some nice pieces, cool. Furthermore, you do not have to keep updating the gear every time or changing the gear every time it levels up. Where'd the quest go?
Okay. I got a weapon built, by the way.
Not cool. You will still need those stupid
oh yeah,
tickets.
Yeah, because you need 5 for every decent rank 8.
No, we can do this one. So where was I? Right, rerolling substats. You and the gear. You do if you are now at around level 80, for instance, and the gear you're getting is around level 80, and your chest piece is like level 62. Well, they have a system to fix that, and it's a very cheap and efficient system. As long as a piece of gear in your inventory is higher level than the piece of gear you're using, you can just feed it to that piece of gear, and depending on its rarity, it'll gain 1, 2, or 3 levels. So after every mission, if you just want to keep using your gear, all the random crap you pick up, just feed it into the gear you've already got, if you even need to. And this saves a ton of time when it comes to inventory management with the Neo style of loot, which, for those that are not familiar, is just a shower of random gear with randomized substats that you would normally have to spend forever sifting through after every mission, figure out what works and what doesn't, and what you got. But that is not the case in this one, just by cutting down the amount of loot and giving you plenty of options to keep using the pieces you got if they're working for you. And so that has been very nice. The gameplay. The level design is probably the weakest part, but doesn't quite get... Saying it like that doesn't get the point I want to across with that. Because the level design is not bad by any stretch of the imagination for a Souls game. It's actually quite good. It's just very stock play it safe fare for the level design. Like, if you've played games in this subgenre before, you're not going to be blown away by these levels. But they are not going to do anything bad either. You're going to genuinely have a good time going through them, but they're not going to stand out. But if that's my biggest complaint about the game, we're doing pretty good. The standard enemies are all dangerous, and all of them have teeth and can potentially kill you. If you he's doing breathless. my head.
He has a wound on his cloaca again.
I'll fix it.
Oh my. Ouch.
My eyes.
I blocked that.
He has a wound on his cloaca.
Again?
What are we doing?
He needs some, I don't know, witch hazel or something.
Yeah, let's see. So the level design ain't gonna blow you away, but the enemies are particularly meaty, most of them. The standard trash is probably not going to kill you, but only because you can stagger it pretty well if you can keep the offensive pressure up. And learning how to do that with all the weapon types does take a bit of doing for every new enemy you encounter, which is nice. And there is a good variety of enemies for you to learn. So I've really appreciated that about the game. But
That's
and
just quacker broken.
yeah, the elite trash enemies, it is not uncommon for them to just set up to totally wreck you. Like you can get stuck on some of them if you misread how to handle them. They hit really, really hard. I'll try to get a second wound, but if he, there we go, bringing him down. But they're not like ball bustingly difficult. You'll get them in a few attempts, and usually they put them relatively close to checkpoints, so that you can figure them out. So these are not too bad, but they are going to mandate that you actually learn how to fight them.
Oh, sleeping.
He's fake sleeping.
Yeah, is this sleeping or playing dead?
He's fake sleeping because he's on the ground instead of standing up.
Oh, yep.
Or is he dead? I just carved him 3 times.
There he goes.
Thanks, Windows Bluetooth, for ensuring the only blunt pot I might have hit in my life could not hit him. Okay, now he's dead.
Okay, we should probably stop stabbing it then.
Right. So the big draw of this game for people that have been, and there are 2 modes that pop up once you get past the first level, and that is, do you want to play on normal or easy? There is no hard mode. There is only normal and easy. And I am glad they described it this way. At least I have played on normal and have not used summons for any of the boss fights, as usual with these games. These bosses on normal are some of the most intense pattern recognition and learning experiences I've encountered in this subgenre. Liza P is the only game that comes close. And Liza P could some of those bosses, I was stuck for like 3 hours. On this game, I was stuck for 4 hours on the 3rd boss. So they are not messing around at all, and I've genuinely appreciated this, because it seems even Elden Ring had a ton of bosses, with only a handful where you really had to sit down and learn the boss's move pattern, and it just did not seem like a major focus of the game for the latest FromSoft release, and really only Liza P has given me something with teeth for a long time, and this just made me so happy. So the first boss is on. If assume you're a game journalist and you pick normal mode, and forget there's an easy mode. You might get filtered by the first boss, the Yeti, but probably not. Now, you cannot actually do most of the upgrading work until after the third boss. You can do some of it after the second boss, but you can't do any of it until then, other than what just naturally leveling up in the levels. That's pretty much all you can do. Breathe.
He's toasted me.
So the first boss, the Yeti, is, if you've played this genre before, most of your difficulty is going to come from figuring out how the controls of this game work. My food ran out, and the octopus is frozen.
Is your game balking?
The octopus reset once I turned my camera away from him. I, however, need to get out of the oil to pull my barbecue spit out. So yeah, the Super Yeti for the first boss is probably not gonna cause you too much trouble, and most of your deaths will come from not quite getting a handle on the controls just yet, and still figuring that out. Oh yeah, the Tentapus is wigging out.
Unhappy.
He's wigging out. Down, put me down, put me down, put me down, put me down. So yeah. The second boss is the first proper boss of the game. Even the first boss, though, that Yeti is a two-phase fight. It only has one health bar, and it's not an extended health bar. It's a fairly normal health bar. So small by the rest of the bosses. But at 50%, or when you do your first stagger, which means you've depleted a stamina bar once and got a critical attack from taking his stamina out. He will lift up a big boulder, and all of his attacks become harder to read. He can throw in much longer and harder hitting strings, and he gets new moves. But he doesn't take too long to take down, and his health bar is relatively tiny, especially compared to what you'll be dealing with later. So not too bad. The second boss is going to sit you down and make you understand something very, very fundamental about this game. You are going to learn when the heck a boss's attacks come, and you're going to learn to perfect dodge and perfect parry the correct attacks with the correct response every single time, or you're going to die.
Oh, charming.
There is very little forgiveness. And yeah, he's going to take you a minute. If you've dealt with these type of games before, and know how to figure this out on your own, you will probably have a good time with it. And I am having a blast with it. But we're not quite at the peak of what this game has to offer yet, because that comes with the third boss. You all saw me do phase 1 of 4 on this boss last time.
Jeez.
So
he was hitting like a truck, but at that stage he wasn't doing that much of anything else.
Yeah. The third boss, before you get access to most of the upgrades and can even do the quest to unlock the blacksmith, that poor little oil dude just got destroyed. Cool Drake's effects have worn off. That's not good. If you have not been filtered yet, this boss is apparently our helicopter. He is a dragon man with a glaive. Phase 1 is for the first 2/3 of his health bar. Phase 2 starts when he twirls the thing over his head. And his moveset completely changes. And he gets more aggressive. And the strings he had demoed for you in Phase 1, he can now mix and match. Now, there's only a certain number he can mix and match, and only a set number of mix and matchable patterns, but he can mix and match them. There's a whole lot of tentacles on the ground after we finally get him out of this area.
Something exploded. Oh, is he leaving?
No.
Nope.
No.
He's still in combat with me. Wound on there that I pretty much...
It turns out I can beam struggle Nathuja as well.
Yep.
I didn't know that. There you go, another tentacle.
Yep.
Can we get all of them?
You can get all of them. We cut it pretty close one time, but we did get all of them once.
Yeah, I've gotten all of them solo. So it's not too hard to
One
do.
more.
Which one?
Front right.
This one.
Front right.
It's usually the first one I get off.
Now he's running away. Okay. Now we gotta play Find the Tentacles.
That sounds like the premise of a very bad visual novel.
Don't get the oil. Looking what I was picking up.
There's 2, but where are the rest of them? Oh, there's another 3.
Yeah, I think there are other 3 altogether, aren't they? Roughly.
Yeah.
We got 5 out of 6. There's one more still attached.
No, he's not skulled yet, so we should be able to get it off. Don't know if we're going to get the head break, but...
The tentacles are the fun part.
Yes. They don't stop wiggling.
Cat is playing with a Vigor Wasp at your camp. A repair or resharpen. Sharpen it on the way.
That's the lazy way.
I know. But Phase 2 starts weaving in moves from every one of his strings into longer strings together, attacks faster, hits harder, and gets a ranged attack and a command grab. Phase 3 starts when you deplete the first health bar. The sky goes dark is the first part of this, and this will become relevant in Phase 4. And this lasts for the first 40% of this health bar. And these health bars are long. This boss has a ton of HP if you don't keep offensive pressure up. In fact, even if you do, my circuit just went the total wrong direction. Oh, I gotta grab that chill bug. In fact, even if you do keep the pressure up, his health bar is still huge. And depleting his stamina bar to get a brutal attack in is a huge blessing in the fight. But his stamina bar is also huge. So you're gonna be working your way through the fight very steadily. Where even is his front?
That's the tentacle that's stuck in the wall. Just
yeah.
Come out of there, make him come out of the corner.
He has me up against the wall and he's fighting me, so I can't really do much.
Okay.
There he goes.
All the typicals. So, and in Phase 3, his moveset entirely changes. He gets a giant demon arm and still has the glaive. So he has modified versions of all the glaive specials, which, although similar, are different enough to give you a heart attack every time he does something. But, okay, you get that phase down. And then Phase 4 starts, where he twirls the glaive over his head again. And he turns the lights off. And you realize not only did you have to deal with 3 phases beforehand, but you should have been focusing on the head the entire time. Because if his head is intact, he literally will turn the lights off and you can't see anything. You will only be able to see him right before he attacks. And during his attack animation. But if you break the head, the lights come back on. So the head does appear to carry over part damage from phase 1, which is nice. But yeah, you're gonna be fighting a bit of an uphill battle there if you don't break the head. And this is just remember, this is the third boss. and they so you go through and you finally get him down with his new because his moveset also gets even more complicated in phase 4. And this took me 4 hours. Like my very first attempt went pretty good and got him deep into phase 2, although I didn't know it was phase 2 at the time. Just because I was on point with my parries. Came back the next day, took a bit to warm up, and it was fun learning that boss. You will know his moveset inside and out, and can go back and do him whenever you want after that. I'm actually using the gear set from him that you need a drop from him to craft, and you'll encounter baby versions of him later. So that is the third boss, and that boss is our helicopter for this game. He comes a bit later, but he is filtering people like crazy. They did have to nerf him, and I only did him post-nerf, and he was still hard as nails.
Oops, I think I crashed.
Why would you do this, man?
Because Capcom did a Capcom and didn't fix the bugs. But they said they did.
Why would you do this, Capcom?
Okay, it's not a crash, it's just a hard lock. Oh, wait, no. It works.
You came back?
I came back. Sort of.
Yeah. So yeah, this sets the tone for the entirety of the game. Adequate levels that I don't have major complaints about at all, but can't really sing the praises on. They're fairly standard for this type of game. Good, solid enemy design with teeth for the trash, and a large variety of it for you to learn as you go through. Plenty of elite enemies scattered out to give you mini challenges on the way through the level. Limited collectibles.
Like monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys can do a flying kick. And really, really ball-bustingly hard boss fights. There's been one boss that I beat in less than 2 attempts. And that was, that boss looked terrifying, but I figured out his gimmick pretty quick. So the next boss is also a rough one. This one is probably the one that took me the longest. This one took me almost 5 hours. Babyface is singing.
It's kind of crazy when you have to consider a boss fight taking hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are attempts. Because you die, and you run back in. Thankfully, the runbacks have not been too bad so far. They place the checkpoint right outside the boss door, and thankfully they drop your EXP right outside the boss door, instead of in the arena somewhere. So there is there is no boss fight run around to go figure out where you dropped your junk.
That's more often than not the reason I lost my my runes in Elden Ring.
They also have a system in this game, because I guess they just know that you're going to die a lot against bosses, where depending on the progress you make on the boss, it gives you a token amount of EXP. So if you were close to a level up and you die a few times, it'll give you enough to push you over the edge and get 1 or 2 more levels to maybe make it go a bit better for you. And it'll keep doing this every single time. So that's been nice. The fourth boss was fun to figure out, and I got stuck there. He's a giant moose.
Moose?
He's a moose man. Something. The village has burned down, and this nature spirit has merged with the children of the village, the spirits of the children of the village, and turned into a very angry moose man. He's got a hammer and a railroad spike, and his gimmick is introducing you to elemental buildup and elemental damage and delays in combos. There were delays with the dragon, but they weren't bad delays, and they could be fairly adequately ID'd in what parts of the fight they will happen with just a few attacks. But the moose can do them with just about any of his strings. So you cannot just get into the rhythm. You've got to actually watch what he's doing and react to it. And so he demands your full attention. And the reason this boss exists with the elemental buildup is basically to teach you what the when there are some attacks you cannot and should not block, because it is more rewarding against the enemy to perfect guard and do a parry by pushing the guard button right when the boss attack hits. That is significantly more rewarding. But if an attack has an element associated with it, it will do chip damage through your block and apply buildup of that element. And even stacking maximum resistance against that element is generally a bad idea to continuously block attacks that are element infused. So you have to learn to dodge those, and time and position your dodges in a way where you're not going to get rocked by any follow up that comes. So that way he does this is he has attack strings with his mace and with his hammer and his spike, and his hammer has a chain on it, so he can throw it out and whip it around at you if you get too far away. And this will all be going good and fighting the boss like normal until he strikes the spike and hammer together and lights the spike on fire. And now you have to watch that hand and dodge attacks from his left hand and block attacks from his right. And it makes a very dynamic dance. His second phase involves permanently enhancing that hand with fire, and the arena is set up in 2 levels of a ladder that connects them. He will do a big windup where he licks the spike that's on fire and drive it into the ground. You've got to dodge the first shockwave that comes from that and bolt to the ladder and climb up to the next level, because he's about to smack it again in about 6 seconds, and that entire floor is going to be on fire. And it'll stay on fire for a full solid 30 to 45 seconds. And just, this boss has a lot going on with his attack strings and the way he can vary them up. He's a ton of fun to learn. But, yeah, he's, people that got filtered by the dragon are definitely going to get filtered by the moose if they didn't. But, okay.
The moose.
Skipping ahead a few bosses. There's a spider boss in there that's the easy one, nothing to write home about. His gimmick is you just gotta break his legs and damage his back to easily cripple him. And that's fairly easy to do with any of the weapons. And as soon as you figure that out, he's not a big deal anymore. He's the one I've beaten to. But he's the only one like that. We'll skip some of the other bosses and go straight to boss 7. Boss 7 was one of the most complicated movesets on a boss for a mid-game boss I think I've ever encountered. There is nothing special about him. It's just a very complicated moveset in the middle of the game as the mid-boss of the game. And he ends Act 1 effectively. And just, Phase 1 is not too bad, and then he gets to 60% health, and he totally changes his moveset. He has 2 broken greatswords that he monkey grips in the first phase, and then he goes double trigger and gets a katana out of nowhere that he can weave in with his dual-wielded greatswords, because reasons.
Because why not?
Wait, so he's triple wielding?
Yeah, he can just... You have to watch when he very fluidly will sheath one of the greatswords to whip out the katana to change his moveset up. And his most dangerous move, after you've learned all his moves, is actually just a really fast kick if you stay on his nuts too hard. But you don't want to run away from him to try and put distance to heal or evaluate the situation, because if he sees you do that, he's just going to heal. If you get too far away from him, he'll plant his swords on the ground and start channeling a very, very potent and fast heal that if you don't run up and interrupt him, he'll get like all of his health back. So you cannot back away from him. You have to stay engaged the whole time. And I will try and find a YouTube video that showcases it without perfect play and post it in live show chat so you can see what I'm talking about with this boss. But it's just blew me away with how hard they were willing to go when we're barely not even halfway into the game yet. Close to halfway, but not quite. So, in addition to this, all these bosses have a hard mode. that is basically you go fight them again, but they're stuck in their hardest phase from the get go, and you just have to demonstrate you've actually got this guy figured out. And there'll usually be a tiny little level or baby mission right before them where you can go get some more upgrade pieces and farm a bit of loot if you want. But that all exists there too. So I've been having a blast with this game. Like the lack of single player games that are complete on launch, and it is getting a lot of bonus points for that. It's getting a whole lot of extra time in my talk for the week about that because there just aren't very many games that are actually finished. And from what I can tell, there's no major bugs with this game. It's well, there's one funny bug in that it hooks into the VR display for Steam. So if you have VR installed on your computer, it'll say you're in VR when you're playing. When you're not, Steam VR doesn't even open.
That's kind of weird.
But that's it. And that's only on the friends list in Steam. The game itself has no bugs that I've encountered. Nothing is broken. And the game appears to be feature complete so far. I hope this continues all the way to the end. But yeah, it's looking really good. I've got I will try to get through it this week, but if I get particularly stuck on a boss, it may get delayed. Just because I'm having a lot of fun learning the bosses. You know, I want to just play through it and keep going. Like every time I would get some free time this week. Even if I was sitting on like Discord talking to Ibu, I would still be booting up Kezan and playing it because it's so much fun. The combat and the movement of the characters flows really well. Your attacks feel like they have weight. Nothing about the moveset feels particularly clunky. And while some moves may seem ridiculous when you first see them, a couple of attempts in, you're like, okay, yeah, I know what to expect now. It's my own fault if I get hit. And nothing feels unfair. I've not encountered something that I've gone, that's BS. There's some stuff, there's a lot of stuff that's really, really hard, but I haven't just looked at the game and gone, okay, that's unreactable. You can't do anything about that. No, there's always something.
Except for that crevasse.
Yeah, but they put the checkpoint right there. you get one. So they did do that. But every death in retrospect, like, nah, that was my fault. I was poorly positioned. You know, he can only do that attack at this range. Now I know. Or, oh, he only does it after this string of attacks. You know, stuff you can learn and figure out. You know, as is standard with these games. So the game has been incredibly fair. I do not find myself getting angry at the game when I make a mistake. I'm just like, oh, all right, go again. And I'm just having a blast with it. There are not a whole lot of complete single player games at all, let alone ones that have teeth that are actually gonna sit me down and put me on and let me play at the level I want to play for an action game. And it just does what it does exceptionally well. It knows what it wants to be, and it is going to be that game the whole way through, it seems. I hope it keeps this quality up for the second half, and we will see when we get there. So yeah, that's Kezan so far. Did not expect anything like that out of a Dungeon Fighter Online tie-in. I don't have a dire ducking clue what any of the lore implications are for what they're saying, but the story is straightforward enough that you can follow it.
I thought you were hardcore into DFO when you were in school.
I did play it, but back when I was playing DFO back in high school, there was functionally no story.
It was there'd be bad guy, go smash.
Yeah, and in the West especially, we got a neutered version of the game. So yeah, I don't have a clue the lore specifics of anything going on here, but the story is simple enough you can follow it and figure it out. Like the dude named Kezan that you're playing as.
Oh, there it goes. Now it crashed.
Oh, is in fact the first berserker.
Yeah, he was a general. He was a general for the Empire. The
Empire.
The Emperor betray him and his best buddy, kill his best buddy, label him a traitor, sever his tendons, and ship him off to be executed in the snow or not be executed in the snow. Like they're gonna imprison him there or something for some reason. He get possessed by evil spirit, and now he go wreck face. That like there ain't anything here that's gonna blow your mind, but it's not incomprehensible. You don't need to go to Vadi's channel to go figure out the lore.
Yeah. It is the downside of the FromSoft games. The lore is
That their lore is only comprehensible by one guy on YouTube.
who has to translate it through the power of Tism.
Yeah. Oh, he has a whole Discord full of turbotism now that is just chain collecting item descriptions and cross referencing them with the Japanese now. He has gone full turbotism trying to piece together the FromSoft lore.
Yeah, good luck with that.
He's actually been right on his predictions of quite a few times. Just turbotisming the lore. But yeah, none of that here.
Presumably, they've got like this one guy at FromSoft who just knows all the lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one guy.
Not sure who that is. Oh, we couldn't get away without a poison swamp level.
There it is.
Yeah, so just to be sure it's really in the subgenre, don't worry, the entire spider level I mentioned before, like the second half of that, all poison swamp.
There you go. It wouldn't be a Souls-like game without a poison swamp.
Miyazaki has topped himself, and that the DLC has an entire region that's a poison swamp. But if it wasn't for that,
That's in addition to the other reason that is a region that is a poison swamp.
Yeah, well, that's a sub-region. There's just a region. Oh, no, I guess no. It's the Kaled is just super huge.
Kaled is super huge, and it's technically a poison swamp.
Well, it's a super poison swamp. It's rot.
Yes, it's rot. But a good chunk of it is poison swamp.
Yeah. So don't worry, poison swamp's intact. All you diehard Miyazaki enthusiasts. But yeah, I thoroughly recommended the game. If you've been looking for a game to give you a challenge in single player and you enjoy these type of games, yeah, go. What are you waiting for? Go get it.
Are there people who enjoy the poison swamp, or are they just like, it's just not right if there's no poison swamp?
At this point, I think it is the latter for literally everybody, unless your name's Miyazaki.
Yeah.
That boy just loves his poison swamps. So yeah, I want the game to continue to be good. If it makes it all the way through, it'll get an even bigger glowing recommendation. Before I forget, there is a way for you to ID frauds who use summons on the bosses. Now, the summons are not very good, and they are going to scale the boss's HP up, so it's kind of a detriment to use them. Never mind that the game is about learning to parry and dodge in time to get the bonuses from parry and dodging with the weapons. And the summons will just move the boss's attention away from you and make that harder. But if you do rely on them too much and use them for boss fights, you get locked out of an achievement at the end of the game, apparently. Like, there's a chivo for not using summons.
It sounds like the game actually punishes you for summoning, then.
Most of the games will scale the bosses. It's just
I mean, it's not so much that it punishes you, it just balances it, really.
Yeah.
Because the summons are not supposed to make you more powerful. There's just another tool that can be used in the game, in theory, which is what the excuse all the Mimic TS people will say, right? Oh, it's just a tool. It doesn't make the game easier. It's built in the game. If you don't want to use it, you're just trying to play with one hand tied behind your back for no reason. Well, the problem there is that they trivialize those games.
Yeah,
if you're going to include something like this, well, there needs to be some kind of trade-off for making the game easier by not having to fight the boss part of the time.
Yeah, so you are paying for it in your lack of access to consistent guards and dodges for the bonuses associated with those and progressing the boss's health bar that way by getting yourself something to take the heat off you for a minute. And yeah, apparently they're not very good, but people will still use them as a crutch because they don't want to sit down and perfectly learn the boss's moveset, and there's no chivo for you if you do that.
They're used to using it as a crutch, more likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was incredibly happy. No chivo for you. Just so I can ID the frauds. If their Chivo is unlocked on the day they get their clear of the first of the game, so like if they get their Chivo for beating the game and at that same timestamp they've got the Chivo for not using any summons, they're legit. If they don't, then they're frauds. So I suppose.
Do it again.
Yep. I didn't even know what Spirit of Advocacy was. Apparently, that's the name of the summon. So I've been there's a level up system for it in the base, where I've been just you get resources for it just for progressing. I'm like, I guess I'll just dump these to get them out of my inventory. But I don't think that voids it. So hopefully I'll be able to have it set up like that so I can point out and laugh at all the frauds. So yeah, good vision. And that's all I got for my week. The rest of my week has been all over the place. I did take Friday off, which is how I had so much time to go through it. Mostly off. I still had to respond to emails, but the factory notified us at the absolute last minute on Thursday they were closing for Good Friday. So I posted my hang on, I got an invite for him.
Yeah. There it is. We could go do Zoshia, although we should probably not do that and focus on getting through the show.
Oh, okay. The show, okay. What are we going to talk about, though?
There's just an email left.
Well, there's not a whole lot. We do have an email, though.
And I expect you people are going to expect me to read it.
Yes. I'm banned.
Yes.
Why would you do this, Aristeele? Do you know excuses? So I have finished Axiom Verge, and it was alright. I have also finished Omori the Dreamer, one of those story mods that takes place after the game ended. And just like Reverie, this is also unfinished, takes quite a while to finish, and is surprisingly good at mimicking Omori's music and cutscenes, especially the cutscenes. And finally, I tried the demo for Mandragora. It was alright but not amazing. The art style reminds me of Trine 4, just dark fantasy. The game seems to be 2/3 Dark Souls side-scrolling, 1/3 everything else. The combat seems to be boring because the only move you have is dodge rolling through the enemy unless you are a fighter with a shield. The reviews seem to be agreeing with me. The biggest complaint seems to be that exploration rewards only crafting mats. Kind of sad, but still it's one of the better Hungarian games released lately. Not much on the gacha front. Serithus.
Right.
Okay, short and sweet today.
Yeah, I think I have seen Mandragora. Let's see.
See, I haven't actually looked at Mandragora properly at all. I think it flashed up briefly.
I do not know anything about it. Oh, by the way, lest I forget, in Kezan, eventually the big enemy is revealed to be named Chaos. So you are yet again trying to kill Chaos Jack in a Neo style, in a Neo style Souls-like.
Stranger of Paradise was so weird because, like, the trailer, they say chaos so many times, and I was thinking, okay, they've just done that for the trailer. That's just kind of how it is. No. The whole game, it's always chaos. All the time chaos. It doesn't sound like a word by the end of it.
It's just sort of a grunt that he makes.
Some random smash syllables, but yeah. I am gross.
Right. I've seen this game, Serithus. I put it on the we'll see radar, I think. I saw it forever ago, and the reviews came out mixed, so I didn't scoop it. And it was also
mixed.
Yeah, they also wanted $40 for it. Yeah, it's a recent release, so they still want $40 for it. I don't know if I'm gonna pay that for a game right now.
You don't have Hungarian patriotism to fuel your decision to purchase.
No. So yeah. I'm yeah. I kind of would like to hear more of your take on Axiom Verge because it doesn't sound like you liked it very much at all. I'd like if you have played through the entirety of it now. I'd like to know how deep you went into the exploration and what you did or did not like about it. because I really like things like the lab coat that lets you walk through uh pillars, and the little ball you shoot up in the air that lets you control a drone, and you can swap places with the drone instead of a standard double jump. You have to like move the drone through a little maze to get to the other end. I thought all that stuff was really neat and novel instead of just the standard double jump wall smasher. It still
Yeah.
accomplishes that, but does it in a novel enough way that I really enjoyed it in Axiom-Verge. So I'm wondering where you didn't take with it so hard. Now let's see here. What else you got? The the Amori stuff, I do not know with this game. When I saw pics of it, it looked like somebody with pencil art from Tumblr wrote yet another game about mud depression and my mental state.
I don't care about the game developer's mental state.
Like it is, making your games about mental health is it skips yellow card and goes straight to red card for me at this point.
It's just it's narcissism, really. Like, why do you think everybody wants to know how you feel?
That or it's clearly bait
It's not
for
just that as well. It's because 9 times out of 10, they're just like they have the sad, and now they are not the sad. That's the story.
yeah. I think the
It's like
entire
everybody has the sad at some point in their life. Like this sort of victim mentality of nobody understands what it's like to be sad. Well, I'm sorry, but virtually
Yeah.
everybody understands what it's like to be sad. Like maybe not everybody understands what it's like to have multiple years long suffocating oppressive sadness, but if you actually understood that, you probably wouldn't be in a state to make a video game.
and if you
Yeah.
didn't
The
rush
games that really delve into mental illness properly and actually well are very few and far between.
Yeah, and if you didn't run to mud depression immediately as a diagnosis, maybe you could do some self-evaluation and realize, the common underlying factor in me being unhappy is me. Maybe I should do something different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one to talk, but I'm pretty sure that there's a good section of people who are even diagnosed with clinical depression who would primarily help probably by alterations to diet and getting some more exercise.
Yeah, simple lifestyle changes in the way you do things, adding new routines. You can just get physically healthier and stronger, or you can just reevaluate the way you look at stuff. And find a way to lift yourself up. Find a new hobby. You know, stop focusing on the negative stuff as much. Like,
It is true. Society does drive you more to depression these days than perhaps it did in the past because it's basically disintegrating. And, to some extent, there's not a lot you can do about society disintegrating around you to some extent. But just wallowing in that is not going to make anything any better.
You know what I found helps more than anything when things start really weighing you down? You remember you're not on social media and you don't care and can actually distract yourself for a minute to realign your brain.
Yeah,
Just
that's the worst thing to do is to go on social media and find things that make you depressed.
yeah,
Because that's the thing that really exacerbates depression is that when you're depressed, you feel the urge to wallow. And because of social media, much in the way that people get stuck in echo chambers because social media provides them with that environment, social media also helps you wallow.
yeah, it'll reinforce whatever your point of view is and make the world look terrible for you. It'll also make you compare yourself to everybody else going around. Like if you just turn Twitter, Facebook, etc. off completely, Instagram, WhatsApp, what days, just shut that crap off for a few weeks and just tell yourself you're not going to look at it, you don't care, and there is literally no social ramifications for doing this, by the way, for 99.9
Yeah,
repeating percent of people.
unless your job is social media manager, you don't need social media. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you just turn that crap off, I guarantee you'll feel better in about 2 or 3 weeks. Like the second you are doing stuff for yourself and the people around you instead of constantly doom scrolling, it's called doom scrolling for a reason, through social media, like life just brightens up. Like I am not clinically insane right now because I don't use social media. I know it would tear my brain up in the way that all these games portray if I was on it all the time. But I don't use it, and I'm much happier for it. And there are plenty of weeks and days where things just go good, and I can focus on that because I don't have social media telling me everything's terrible 24/7.
It's actually gotten a lot better since the whole large amount of Twitter evacuated to Blue Sky.
Oh, I
Like,
imagine.
it's generally a somewhat more uplifting place now. It's still corrosive to the human soul to a certain extent,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
it's
not as
still
bad as it
100%.
was.
But yeah, just there's literally nothing to be gained, I think, other than a bit of information and what's current going on with the current events by shutting off the social media entirely. I think it's only
Some
a
of
net
us don't
positive.
have the farms are still.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I would say you could go to 4chan, but they're down right now.
Yeah,
4chan
that's the whole
offense.
thing, isn't it? But
4chan's a fed up,
Yeah,
probably run by Mossad. That's the traditional accusation, right?
well, we saw the IP country of origin on poll, which made everybody found a way to laugh about that saw that. So yeah, yeah, I can't get behind games that focus on that. If I'm missing Omori entirely and it's not all just about the mental health of the casting characters that are just a reflection of the author, cool. But that is what it appears like on the surface.
For me, it's just become inextricably linked to Zoe Quinn Depression Quest.
Yeah.
Every game about depression is just linked to that grifter, and so it's immediately got a sheen of the grift about it. It's not fair necessarily to judge it that way, but that is how I instinctively respond. Is somebody's grifting over a poor me story again.
Mine doesn't nearly have a cultural event, I guess you could point it to. My animosity towards it just comes from I realized playing through Celeste when I got to the end, and that game was about my depression. That I was just sick to death of this, and every indie game doing this, and that it was not creative, it wasn't speaking any meaningful message, and that this person could probably have all their problems solved if they just closed Twitter.
The thing is, for a long time, I didn't know people made games about this, like explicitly about this, and the reason it never occurred to me is because I didn't think they're necessary for any purpose. Like, because the vast majority of my games diet is JRPGs. Like, it's not an uncommon trope for a major character to go through a period of depression, and then they have to, get their shit together, haul themselves out of it, and be a hero again. And that's just the way the story always goes.
Yeah.
So the right lesson about actually deal with it, don't just spend all your time examining it, is already in place in mainstream games. So we don't need to have games all about wallowing in how dark the world is.
Yeah, and it really does seem like most of these games come down to just wallowing it, or you just got to learn to live with being depressed all the time, man. No, you don't. You turn off Twitter.
Or in some cases, the message is lost completely. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know it's a game about X or Y or mental illness until someone actually tells you.
Yeah, well, they're usually very explicit about it near the end. Like, and I use Celeste as
Usually,
is the
If they don't
example.
actually put it on the title page and say this is a game about depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use Celeste as the example because it's what I think of when I think of this type of game, where the rest of the game is fine and a decent indie game. And then
switched.
Yeah, and then at the end, it's all, this is just an allegory for my depression. I'm like, I can already hear the squawking in the woodwork from the opinions across the river at Blue Sky. But it's a legitimate, yeah, sure. Okay, maybe it is. I don't believe mental health to begin with. At all. Any part of the industry. I think it's all a scam. But let's play at devil's advocate. Say it's actually true. The amount of people that are probably afflicted by it is so minor that it cannot be reasonably measured. Most people, I think, just need to close Twitter and maybe do a few laps around the yard.
There are definitely people who have the crazies, like the people who hear voices and the people who literally spend all day banging their head against a wall or whatever because they are just sort of compulsively disordered and they can't function as normal human beings. You know, the kids that are born with actual autism who can't do anything but sit and scream all day or flail around because they just don't have the mental capacity to do anything else. Like, those are incapacities that are measurable. But the sort of the big pharma institution that now exists as like the mental health shoggoth doesn't have anything to do with health. It has to do with selling people easy solutions to their problems.
Yeah, problems they will invent for them because victimhood is a currency. Yeah, it's a mess. So
Have you seen the fight that has broken out over the autism thing lately?
I'm not, but I've heard in passing that
No.
RFK is going to go dig into the actual cause of autism.
Yeah, because RFK basically RFK said basically divided autism into people who have autistic who have autism for reals, who have a real disability, and people who have been diagnosed with autism when it's just a personality trait.
Yeah, like
And so, and the people really objected to this division because there's been a narrative pushed that autism is basically a superpower.
yeah,
No, no. When people say the tism colloquially, they aren't actually saying a mental health problem. They're saying sort of like a personality disorder.
Yeah.
Like they're a person who has a disruptive personality when it comes to social things.
yeah, that or some kind of hyperfixation or focus on something like we do it.
I
When
think that that's called being a man. Like, I think that this is just a trait of masculinity, is that most men have something that they will hyperfixate on, and like some skill or interest that they will refine to a truly absurd degree. Like that's just a natural masculine trait, I think, and the idea that it's actually autism is just a extension of the pathologization of masculinity that has grown out of a female dominated primary school environment, basically.
yeah, pretty close to that. Yeah, we talk about our levels of tism on stuff all the time, but we're not referring to the mental health, the actually mentally broken that need help and can visibly be seen to need help from a simple interaction with them type of autism. We're talking about the joke kind. We use it in a mocking way to make fun of the word autism because it doesn't mean anything.
Not anymore, anyway. Like, there are people who have autism, like, the low functioning autists, the
Yeah.
kids who don't have, they lack actual capacities for thought. They can't actually arrange their brain in such a way as to stay focused on anything for any length of time, or they can only focus on something and then they are incapable of breaking away from it, and so assume a single behavior and just repeat it. Things like that. Like, those that's autism. The sort of hyperfixation that causes you to learn every fact and figure about, like, there are people who do it for baseball, right? They just learn every statistic.
Yeah.
That's tism. It's not autism, it's tism.
Yeah. So yeah, you can let me know if I'm totally off base with the Amori thing, but from a cursory glance and what I've seen, like when people use clips of it in YouTube, that's what it's looked like to me, and that's why it's turned me off so much. Like Celeste really was the breaking point with that crap for me. I just was done with it.
I'm not into this sort of art house crap anyway that Amori is sort of touching base with. Like, I didn't play The Void either.
I did. I liked it when I was
Void-
younger. I was much younger then.
Yeah.
Now it would hold literally zero interest in me. But
The Void annoyed the hell out of me.
I liked it when I was younger, but I was going in a bit of an artsy phase there, and
Yeah.
it did not take very long for it to die after that phase.
And then your
Whisper
sister
talk.
entered her artsy phase, and you realized artsy phases were a terrible idea.
Well, I'd already left mine by the time she really got in the swing and went to art school. But yeah. Yeah, I still enjoy the occasional indie game, but I'm always roll my eyes whenever that trope rears its ugly head. Vern posted a quest, by the way. Vol, so I just joined his quest.
Bubble snack.
Why am I being excluded?
Come hunt the bubble snack.
Yeah, it is very, very rare that an indie game actually captures my attention. It's not to say that they're all bad, but I don't have that much time to measure out to small projects, so I prefer to pick things that I know are going to accrue over an extended period of time rather than things that are like packaged experiences of a short and finite length. A, a game can break through that usually by production values. Usually music. A game with sufficiently good music will get me to play it regardless of what the gameplay is. But and I don't really like short form narratives all that much, so story is not usually enough for me in that case. And indie games almost never capitalize on graphics, so basically they just don't have very many draw cards for me.
I don't mind picking up an indie game if it's got an interesting or weird mechanic or idea behind it, as long as it's like, if it shows up cheap for a weekend sale, I might just pick it up, play it for a weekend.
I never made it very far through Hades because it gave me RSI.
Yeah, Hades kind of does that.
Well, I'm already sort of on the precipice of RSI at all times because I'm a professional scientist, so my pipette and thumbs are pretty much wrecked.
Yep.
The whole tendon that goes through from the thumb into the wrist is pretty stuffed. So my threshold for repetitive movements that I can tolerate is not very high. I had to take Ari's advice and rebind dodge to a trigger button, or I bound it to a bumper in the end, because I couldn't use my thumb for that.
Yep.
Yeah, I made it a habit now to, if the game allows, rebind the primary defensive tool button to a trigger. Just because you'll do way less overall damage to your hand.
Oh, you broke the head. It's now Solcia Mizutsune because you blinded it.
This is a normal one, not a tempered one, because the one he just
So it's not going to instantly kill us.
Yeah, it's not going to do that move.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look closely at its face, Fern, you'll see that you've injured its eye the way it legendarily did for Solcia. And so now when it berserks, it will go into Solcia mode. If you can avoid hitting its head if you can avoid hitting the head for the entire fight, it will never go Solcia on you, and its entire Solcia move library will stay locked.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
But there's not very much hit points on its eye, so it's most likely you're going to end up breaking it during a fight.
Especially since, again, I'm playing a great shield weapon, so yeah, the head is where I be.
Yeah, we should probably figure out what that move is that killed us.
What? He bit me with his butt.
That's not how butts work.
Tell him that.
I should build me a hammer.
Oh, man.
Gunga bunga. Hammer is a lot of fun.
Hammer is not a complicated weapon, but the little bit I tried of it when I was goofing around while you were still lower rank, I kind of want to build one.
Gonna get Yo Bonk on.
Problem is,
I'll try and break the back since you guys seem to have trouble hitting it.
I don't do up.
I mean, I can do up, but it's only one hit every so often. Where's the tail? There it is. Oh, I must have carved it.
Oh, right, the tail. I didn't carve it, though.
Where is it?
I remember looking at the tail and telling myself, got to carve that. But I didn't do it.
No, bad chicken. There we go.
So, yeah. Thank you for the email, Sarathus. News.
Yeah.
I did not see...
There wasn't any... I looked and I didn't find anything. It was so depressing.
Yeah, I did my usual...
There's a certain subset of the audience at the moment spurging out over the imminent release of the Oblivion remaster, which is supposed to be coming as soon as tomorrow. Assuming that, of course, happens. Which I will pick up and play that one at some point, because I love Oblivion.
Well, why did you pull out your fishing rod again?
I'm trying to work out why that keeps happening.
But yeah, they showed out, got screenshots leaked out of it now, and it's actually starting to look good, and that it's not being made by Bethesda. So we'll see what happens.
Vern should make a hunting horn for his alternate weapon so we can double bunk.
I do have a hunting horn made. I just haven't used it.
Once you get
Also, it's the damn it, the custom weapons don't seem to have a whole lot of control over which notes you get.
No, you get what you're given.
You get what you get.
Oh, I think you more or less get what you're given. But everybody
Yeah.
uses the regular monster hunting horns anyway. Like the
Yeah.
RTN ones basically don't see any use because people want particular songs.
Yeah, depending on what build you're going for, your song will make or break it.
Oh damn it! I'm trying to get your back, Mizutsune.
Can we get it? Nope.
No,
it
it
goes down too much damage.
Dead bubble snack.
He was a normal bubble snake, even though I was only baby
Yeah,
tough in the head. He ain't got that much HP to play with.
Yeah, he's a rank 6 monster, so
yeah, he's not super big, but I love that the soul seer mechanic is just kind of built into him now.
yes. Well, they couldn't put both in, so they decided that they just put all of them into one monster. Some of his moves are from Violet Mizutsune as well.
Yeah, so he's kind of a bit of a mix of different Mizutsunes.
Yeah, I think he's the best one. Like I've fought some of the others, and I think that this is the best one. It's a very balanced fight.
I think his tempered monster is the only one to get a legitimate card on me when I've actually been paying attention. I don't know why or what that move was, but it took us out.
It put both of us in the ground simultaneously.
Were you trying to block it too?
I honestly don't remember what I was doing at the time. I think I may have been trying to counter it, and it did not take.
Yeah, I was positive I got my block up in time, and it just did not care.
Yeah.
Like, oh. So he has some charging move that just kills you.
Alright, so as far as news goes, besides that, I'm just flicking through to see what I can find. You've got Marvel Rivals proving they know how to make money by releasing swimsuits for everyone.
You know, as you do when you need them.
As you do.
You need to show the investors you can up your profits. There's a simple solution, and it's called the swimsuit.
Yep.
Or if you really want money, the Ellen swimsuit.
These days, that might be a bit harder.
Yeah. The Lords of the Fallen remaster is one of the big things that happened this week. All the bug fixes, a whole bunch of free cosmetics for people who have owned the version 1.0, and co-op mode with a free friends pass. So if you've already owned the game, you can invite a friend to play with you for free. What else?
Wow.
Okay.
Marvel themselves might have finally run out of money. They're putting out a swimsuit pinup for Marvel Characters Edition.
Well, I think that generally speaking, a lot of these big corpos have realized that the whole, social justice feminism thing has long hit the end of its rope, and there's no more money to be made off of grifting there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But boobs and butts always make money.
And Ellen.
Oh yeah, and they put out a new character with the start of the new season, Emma Frost, who has thigh jiggle.
I mean,
but Ellen had adjustable thigh sliders.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, as the person that mains Jane primarily as my main go-to unit in ZZZ, I get all the thigh and booty jiggle I could possibly want.
I think Trigger is very respectable in that regard.
Oh, Trigger does it in your face too. Every time you press that and hold that attack button.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think she is a very valid competitor for Jane in that regard.
Somebody played Nikkei when they made Trigger.
Yeah.
not even joking or exaggerating.
Yep. So, yeah, again, they know how to make money. You put the jiggle in. You go the fan service route, and you will make money.
I mean, Trigger and Jane's booties are totally covered, but you can see every single movement they make.
This is considering, especially notable considering just about everything else in ZZZ is already jiggling, just because of how dynamic the animation is for that game.
The character models are bouncier than normal, but this translates to double bounce in the right areas for mini animations.
Yeah, get the wrong character and it's going to look completely absurd, and I'll be there for that. All right.
There was a GIF for this.
Yeah. The Switch 2 stuff is still going on, and I still have no idea what's going on because, again, there's so much misinformation about it. So apparently there was going to be a price hike on the console because of the tariffs, and now there's not. There's going to be a price hike on games, but now there's not. So I don't know, honestly. Nintendo hasn't been particularly clear about their messaging either, which does not help.
There you go, Fern. I've helped since you don't play ZZZ in live show chat.
You helped, did you? Yes. There you go.
Did not take long at all to find those GIFs.
It would have been the first result. Yep, everything's jiggling. All right. So yeah, Nintendo Switch 2. Everyone's still screaming, and yeah, that's all there is to that. I suppose the only other thing that really crossed my mind for this week was Gura's graduation announcement. That's
Lots
about
of
it.
people are sad.
Yeah, they're sad, but honestly,
well, I think more it's more the rampant speculation is the main nub of the discussion there because of there being so many departures this year already.
Yeah, and most of them have cited some sort of disagreement with the management.
I think that it's probably something as simple as they did not realize that they're not willing to go along with the amount of idle activities required now because they signed up to a streaming company in their minds, which is a reasonable conclusion to make, but it's always been an idle company, which is also a reasonable thing to recognize. So they have a disagreement because, like, particularly like Mumei's voice is not up to constant idle activities. Fauna was never really fond of traveling. She's kind of a homebody. She doesn't want to go anywhere. And like generally speaking, a lot of them just can't hack the pace of idle life. So I think it'll basically be a matter of, though there are some people who thrive in that environment and other people who are going to get worn down by it in time.
Yeah, like being an idol is a very, very stressful job on top of the already highly stressful job of being a streamer. So,
and Gura seemed, honestly, she had not streamed hardly at all in the last 2 years.
She
probably burned herself out in the front half. So
yeah, she got the title of the big Ian streamer and then the big HoloLive streamer in general, and pushed
just because of how prolific she was right at the start.
Yeah, and then she pushed herself hard at the start, and I think she just burned herself. I would not be surprised if, while most of the talent so far, or a good chunk of them, has been willing to return to their old avatars or make new ones to continue streaming afterwards. If Gura does do that, it'll probably be a bit. I imagine she wants a break
from what I've heard, that she's already sort of started moving back to it in a low key kind of way.
Yeah. Okay, so she might pop up sooner than
but I think that it's a case of, well, now she has control over it again, so she can slide back into it at her own pace, because most of them don't come to hate streaming or anything. They just don't want the pressure and the organizational demands. Like the dream for streaming for most people who want to get into it is to have that control over what they do to earn a living. But if you sign to an idol company, then you don't have any control. So
Yeah.
there's a sort of mental, a cognitive dissonance there between the ideal in your imagination and what is actually going to be done. And they will go along with it for a while because of how much more resources you've got to execute on your ideas initially. And then you realize that, oh, well, eventually that's not going to be enough. You have to conform to somebody else's dream. In this case, Yago's idea of having an idol company. And if you don't actually want to spend heaps of time doing choreography lessons and dancing and singing and that sort of thing, well, you're not really going to fit in with that particular version of the dream. So there's people who, are quite athletic and already had a certain amount of training in that regard, like Bay, who was already had the fundamentals down before she even started, and she continues to thrive in that environment. The thing which is likely to wear her down is actually probably just watching people go.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if actually that's part of why Gura's chosen now. It's because there's been a bunch of other
Sort of like permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also
'Cause-
I bet
Yeah.
Hololive was kind of reluctant to let her go, because she was the face of EN VTubing for like 2 years straight.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
intellectual property that is Gargura is worth quite a bit of money at this point.
Yeah, so I bet they were reluctant to do that, but I bet Gura also, especially after Ame left, she
But
seemed
Ame left on different terms, and nobody has done what Ame did. Remember, Ame remained willing to continue to keep the Ame IP alive.
yeah,
That's why she's an affiliate.
yeah,
But
she's not
the others
active
have
anymore.
not decided to go that route. The others have rejected that as a path.
Yeah, well, what I was getting at, I wonder if when Ame cut her activity down with Hololive to basically nothing, she seemed the closest with her of her original gym mates. I wonder if that had an impact on the decision to finally go.
Possibly, yeah.
Because
Hard to say, but it's all speculation.
It
You
is,
really
yeah.
couldn't say one way or the other. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Ina has stuck it out, since she more or less wants to just keep terrible hours and flop down on the floor. But she's still keeping up with all of the training that they have to do.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's anyone who will stand out to be at risk of going anytime soon at this point. I think everyone else seems fairly happy where they are.
Mori hinted by accident, I think, that some more may be coming in the future.
Yeah.
I doubt she's going to be one of them, since she's actually been able to execute on what she wanted to do. Like, she now basically has a record label.
Yeah, about to say,
do her music
Yeah.
releases with.
Yeah,
And Kelly is just a complete workaholic, so she just kind of thrives at that too.
Well,
Yeah.
to an extent, and then her health fails her because she's
Hell,
working too hard.
And then
Which
she
has
goes
happened
on
once or
holiday.
twice already.
Yeah, and she's gone on holiday and come back, and no, she didn't have a holiday. She was working.
Yeah, I think that it's rather than her leaving, I think it's more likely that the company will put her on sabbatical to ensure that she doesn't leave due to
No.
health reasons.
You're going on holiday. You are not going to work.
Yeah.
Leave the laptop at home. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll see.
I think that the probably the biggest leaving risk in the Ian crew right now is probably Crony.
Probably Crony, yeah. Though honestly, it's really hard to tell with her.
Yeah. Crony and maybe Ina are the only two I could see. I would pin as the next one's going.
If it ever impinges on Ina's drawing, then she'll probably spit the dummy. Because that's basically, amongst her pursuits, that's what's most important to her, is her art. And if being an all singing, all dancing idol sort of encroaches on her ability to hole herself up in her office and draw, then she'll start to get upset with that, I think.
Yeah.
But Crony admitted to being depressed when she started with Hololive and was hoping to make friends in the career, but now she's watching them go.
Yeah. So if Crony goes, I wouldn't be surprised if Bay folds in some capacity.
I think Bay's doing.
I think Bay and Iris will probably prop each other up because they're
Yeah.
both performers. They're both performers at heart, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, they'll probably fold Promise, but yeah, something will shift there. Even if it's just a change in label or something.
If Crony goes and if it's just Bay and Iris left, then they probably will relaunch them as like an idol duo unit or something.
Yeah.
But the thing, I suppose the broader ramifications is that losing access to the Gargura intellectual property caused their share price to take a pretty hefty hit. So
A very heavy hit.
their having gone public is now hurting them. Their value has gone down pretty significantly because now the investors are like, you can't maintain your IP. You don't actually have control here, do you? This might not be a great investment.
Especially since Guru was signed up to be a cultural ambassador event along with Mori and Miko. And they just quietly dropped Gura off the promotionals for that event a couple of days before the announcement. So yeah, it's not good, especially when people were probably really looking forward to seeing Gura in that capacity, and they've just lost one of their big headliners.
Or seeing Gura at all after not being present for a while.
Well, yeah. So it is sad, but I wish her all the best. And
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see her pop up in some capacity in the near future.
Yeah,
Give it a few months, maybe.
Yeah, I imagine she will eventually come back when she's got stuff filled out under her own terms. Could be quick.
Yeah.
Could be a whole year from now or 2 years. But
she's not already. She did not exactly grease the shoot out the way Fauna did. Like I pretty much seamlessly stopped watching Fauna and started watching Nemi without a break.
Yeah, there was no gap in there.
Yeah, so to the viewer, while the character may be retired, the person's still there for like Fauna, and
she still gets the name wrong.
You can tell she's having to work really hard to keep the two separate in her mind because there's no time between them.
Yeah, and then she collabs with Doki, not Doobie, sorry, and that all goes out the window. So yeah, problem is them all going indie. There's no theme behind them anymore.
Well,
but they're going to be collabing.
Yeah, the theme was always loose to begin with.
It was
the Ian side especially. Pretty much everybody forgot the theme or used it as just a running gag.
Yeah, well, the Advent's pretty strong on the gag side of things.
I don't watch much of Advent. I watch a few clips that people link me a Bebo.
Yep.
Because she's almost as manic about Devil May Cry as you are.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Virgil is her waifu.
I approve. Maybe if Virgil's the waifu, you can get him to pay child support.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't watch too much Advent.
I watched some clips of Fuwawa because they crop up in everything. And
oh yeah, Fullmoko are everywhere. Honestly, Narissa's content doesn't really interest me at all. Just not my thing.
She more or less leans into the whole e-girl thing.
Yeah. Shiori just scares me.
She's definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah. And yeah, Fullmoko are just pure diabetes.
I don't watch them because I feel like they're trying a bit hard. Like the verisimilitude is just not there. Like they're leaning into their characters in a way that nobody else really is.
Yeah, but I think that comes from what they did or the characters they had before they were Fullmoko.
But that's not change. Doesn't really change the fact that it's kind of a bit.
Like,
yeah,
it's
a bit much.
When everybody else is taking their theming and their character light as a kind of a surface level thing, and they have "bow bow" literally as their catchphrase they say all the time, and they go out of their way to try and sync their words, it just comes off a bit forced.
A little bit, yeah. And as for Justice, yeah, nah.
All right, they
I'm not
exist.
feeling it.
It's just it's I think that's a matter of like volume consumption. Like I think the people who watch them are more into them, but they have a bit of a different flavor. Like the Cecilia fans and the Raura fans and that and the Herb fans, they're all pretty fanatical,
Yep.
but the
And
they
Gigi
just
ones
don't have
are
this.
disturbing.
They don't have the same overlap because the basically myth and promise overlapped almost 100% in terms of community, but there's a much weaker overlap between Advent and Justice, even though they
Yeah.
were supposed to be paired more closely than Myth and Promise were.
Yeah. It's just, I guess, just the kind of content they're putting out just doesn't necessarily appeal to everyone, which is fine. But yeah,
The only ones only one I actually watch streams of now is Nemi. I pretty much stuck with
Yeah.
her.
although I have to give props to Shiori from a few weeks ago. She did a collab with someone from Stars, and her fans spurged out.
Everybody said that she did that deliberately, that she had toxic elements in her fandom and she wanted them to out themselves so she could ban them.
The first
And so
time,
she did
no,
the thing that would bait them the hardest.
I wouldn't say she did that. That was the case for the first collab, but the second follow-up collab, absolutely. Like, I don't mind watching the Stars occasionally as well, but Gerard honestly is a very acquired taste because he's just so freaking loud.
I don't watch
But
any of the stars.
I might watch them if the guy that's paired with Kobo.
oh, okay,
As a combination, they were entertaining.
they are extremely entertaining. Those two, actually, Altair's possibly at high risk of graduation.
I don't think there's as much keeping the Hollow Stars there as there is for the others. The biggest thing that keeps the Hollow Stars in place, I think, is how hard it is to carve out a position as a male VTuber in the industry.
It is extremely difficult, yeah.
Because basically the industry is powered by simps, and most women don't simp in the same way that men do.
The only
Because the male instinct to simp is to be a provider, so they throw money around. The female simp is to just be creepy, basically.
yeah, basically there are a few notable male VTubers out there, but for the most part, they've kind of catered to a very specific niche. Like you've got Randon slash Vespa, is basically a grumpy old man.
Well, you got the only male VTuber that I will follow is Beetle.
Beetle
Does
cheated.
that even count? Does that
No.
even count?
I don't know.
Beetle cheated. He made a robot. Incidentally,
Beetle
actually, that
doesn't
reminds
count.
me. An article that popped up, well, not an article, sorry, clips that popped up. Vita was doing a promotion for Assassin's Creed Shadows with Neuro.
Oh,
and
boy.
Neuro kept saying, I love Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, it's a risky prospect to take that particular sponsorship on. Like the whole reason why Nero is a phenomenon is because she has no filter, or she has no filter when the filter is not specifically applied.
Yeah, oh, I crashed again. Also, yeah, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Beetle had his thumb on the scales for that one as well, because it was funny, seriously funny.
Beetle, he turned off Neuro's filter during her birthday stream, and
Yeah, that was a mistake.
he immediately had to flip it back on mid-sentence.
Yep.
What did she try and say?
We don't know. He was like, nope.
It was definitely something about the Jews, wasn't it?
It almost
Probably.
certainly was. Because it was evil Neuro that had the filter turned off.
And
Honestly,
everybody remembers Tay. Well, maybe everybody remembers Tay. Do people remember Tay?
I remember Tay.
I remember Tay started spouting Nazi verse.
Yeah, because that's what happens if you're an AI on the internet.
You get exposed to the mustache man, and your feet just feel like geese's.
It's more that an AI, like a large learning module, is going to, when you've got that plugged into a parser, you're going to basically have created a mass pattern recognition engine, and the section of online society that is most obsessed with talking about pattern recognition have interest in a handful of very specific statistics.
Yeah. And every time you get the games media or the just media in general saying, "Oh, the fascists have gotten to the AI," no, people
It's
corrupted
like
because it was funny.
yeah, that be the way it is, and nobody in the media knows what the word fascism means anyway. So
No, they don't. It's
I'm
like, no,
pretty.
it was just simply because it's funny.
I'm pretty sure most of the people over the age of 30 and everybody under the age of 30 doesn't know what that word means.
Yeah.
it's something to do with those symbols on Abraham Lincoln's throne, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Wait, what?
This, you know, the Lincoln monument.
Yeah.
How he's sitting in that big stone chair.
Yeah.
The chair has fasces carved into it.
Yeah, okay. I never knew that.
Well, the thing is that most of the Western popularity of fascism came from America. That's why the Time magazine put Hitler on the cover as Man of the Year, because it was extremely popular at the time. Because it merged the sort of like the nascent call for overbearing socialist government with the sort of like a distorted version of American patriotism, and sort of fused them together into some sort of like pseudo pagan origin myth. So it was actually the American soil was incredibly fertile for fascism, and if it hadn't been taken up by Hitler, it probably would have been taken up in America.
Yeah. Anyway, we should wrap up.
Right. Because
Because the only other bit of news I seen this week was people talking about Marathon, and no,
Nobody cares about that. Aren't they
nobody
launching
cares
with like
about that.
3 stages and a battle pass or and a full price game or something?
And all the characters look the freaking same. Yeah.
Well, I mean, is it worse to have all the characters look the same, or to have them all look like the characters in Concord?
Well, they're supposed to be unique, but they're not.
I mean, I so many shooters in the past have got away with the same looking character that I'll take that over the dude that stabbed that one police officer in a wig.
Moving
Well, I
on.
mean, it's not you. Wasn't that character like a tranny,
Uh,
or something? Wasn't that the thing?
I do
And it
not.
looks exactly like that crazy woman on that body cam.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was referencing.
And body cams were such a cell phone for the agitators, the agitators in the pro Black Power activist movement that were agitating. Oh, we need all cops to have body cams so that we can prove that it's all police brutality and that they're all good boys that didn't do nothing. And the only thing that the body cams have managed to generate is massive amounts of memes.
Yeah, they didn't twig to the fact that the entire opposite end of the aisle was like, yeah, all right, we can get behind that. Just did not click for them.
anyway, wrapping up.
Right.
All right, folks. Don't have a specific email topic of the week for you because not a whole lot's going on, but play Kezan. It's good vidya.
I do want to play Kezan.
So, all right. I think we're done. We will see y'all next week.